Gunrunner reaching for the wire, collected alongside, and then comes West Coast and War Story, but Gunrunner's on top of the world! He wins the Breeders' Cup Classic!
In 2017, Gunrunner punctuated his Horse of the Year campaign with a dominant victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. This year, the World Championships return to the Seaside Oval, and the biggest names in the sport have assembled at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Who will rise to the occasion and emerge as this year's definitive star? TVG brings you all the action as the competitors and their connections make their final preparations for the biggest weekend of the year. Welcome to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
On this Halloween edition of Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, as the pressure starts to build towards 2 championship days of racing, this reminder: don't lose your head. It's all good. In fact, it's great at the Breeders' Cup. In fact, we are reminded on this Halloween, it is a treat to see champions like Essential Quality, whom you'll see this morning, put in his last major work before the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. But as we found out yesterday, it can also be very tricky getting to your championship moment. Welcome to Del Mar, who will host the Breeders' Cup for the second time, the 38th running of the Breeders' Cup World Championships. I'm Todd Trupp. Yesterday, we saw an incident with Latruska that we'll revisit once again today, but it showed that up until the last minute, anything can happen leading to the Breeders' Cup, and you're going to see a lot of important works here this morning. You all know the names when you follow horse racing, names like Mike Smith, Javier Castellano, John Velasquez, they're in the Hall of Fame. But you should also know these names, and you'll see them this morning. Names like Fernando Espinosa, Hugo Garcia, Danny Ramsey. Those are the exercise riders, a few of them that we will show you this morning. Joining me on our set is Simon Bray. And Simon, we saw the importance of exercise riders yesterday in a lot of different incidents. These races that are won in the afternoon actually are won in the morning by these talented men and women who are exercise riders who will not get the credit they deserve.
You're exactly right. They're an integral part of any training operation, big or small, key component. You've got grooms, you've got hot walkers. They take care of the horses on the ground. The trainer is the stable manager, the coach, if you will, the GM, oversees everything. But one of the key players is the exercise rider. They're responsible for exercising these horses in the morning. And remember, jockeys are going at race pace. Look, it's a dangerous job, I get it. But to actually time works and have horses in a slower pace and execute what the trainers want, it's a meticulous job. And they really deserve a lot of credit, unsung heroes of the backside, really, because without a good exercise rider, a lot of these success in the afternoon won't happen.
All right, we're going to get right into the action here. You're going to love all these workouts we're bringing you this morning, key horses, key players. And here's one taking place at Del Mar right now. This is Casa Creed for Lee Einsiedler and his partners, his son Jeffrey, as well as famous sports talk radio host Mike Francesa. And we have Casa Creed. They were between, Simon, looking at the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint and the mile. They ultimately decided with the mile on the turf. One, do you agree with that decision?
Absolutely, wholeheartedly. I think this horse did sprint last time out of Belmont, 6 furlongs, was far back, out-footed early. That's not surprising because the horse has consistently run 2 turns in his career. You're then going to cut back another 1/8 of a mile here at Del Mar. I think Casa Creed might have been run off his feet early. He's got the class to compete in that race, but being so far back, tight turns, big field, he'd have to navigate through traffic. I think this is the right spot. Tough spot with the Europeans, but he belongs. Look at him. Again, this is what Belmont does when he works his horses. He'll gallop once around the racetrack. The exercise rider will pull the horse up right now. He'll come to a complete standstill, reset, readjust any equipment that needs to be readjusted, let the horse just take a breather, and then go ahead about his work.
And the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. How appropriate, because with Casa Creed, Lee Einsiedler, when TVG held a telethon to raise money for the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund, he pledged 25% of whatever Casa Creed earns at the Breeders' Cup to go to the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. So an extra reason to root for Casa Creed in the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by PDJF. To put that in perspective, if this horse wins this $2 million race, you're looking at about a $300,000 donation to the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. fund from Lee Einseidler and his partners. And Casa Creed definitely liking his surroundings out here this morning.
You see what this is great. We got the shot. You see what the exercise rider is doing? We talked about the incident with Latruska yesterday. You see he was looking and looking. Do you see the horses going by on the rail? He was looking for a spot. It's like coming in on an off-ramp on a freeway. And you've got to pick your spot, get in there before the other horses get tangled up. He's looking back, so he's just making sure. I'm sure with what happened yesterday, everyone's a little more cognizant, but absolutely like getting onto a freeway on an on-ramp and drops down to the rail. All the horses work on the rail. Remember, you got a turf horse here working on the dirt, which he typically does. So he works on the training track most of the time over at Belmont Park, but working in solo here. Very nice mover, good-looking horse. Very simple, I would say. This is a straightforward horse to work. Hasn't got fancy equipment. He does wear a figure-8 noseband across his nose. We talked about that yesterday on some other horses, just to keep the horse's mouth shut, but very professional. You see the action? The knees are coming up a little higher. It's a little easier to see when they've got 4 white bandages on because it's accentuated a little bit, but that is a turf action. You can see why he runs well on the grass.
Casa Creed running for a good cause, running for his connections, finishing up his last major workout before Saturday here at Del Mar in the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. Again, 25% of his earnings at the Breeders' Cup going to the PDJF. Best of luck to Casa Creed and his connections. Jackie's Warrior up at Santa Anita, and Steve Asmussen is one of those this is actually this morning, I should say, here at Del Mar.
Yep.
But under the cover of darkness seems to be Steve Asmussen's MO.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, he doesn't. He plays his cards close to his chest anyway. It's just another reason here. And it could be he just wants to get out early. The horses are accustomed to get out early. You know, look, with the fog yesterday, I know some of those horses up at Santa Anita worked in the fog. If you leave a horse standing in the stall for 3-4 hours in the morning and then go ahead and go and work them where they're accustomed to going out 6 or 7 in the morning, creates a lot of undue stress, anxiety. So it's best to just get them out, those horses that like that. But his Jackie's Warrior going to be one of short favorites all weekend long, I think, for the sprint. He is a 3-year-old taking on older horses. I'm not worried about that. Been 38 runnings of the sprint. 9 3-year-olds have won. They can do it if they're good enough. And Jackie's Warrior is certainly good enough. Look at him here. Exercise rider just sitting against him, motionless. This looks like a high cruising gallop here. I'd like to see the final time. Typical Asmussen. He likes to work a half in 50, 5/8 in 102. You're not going to see fast works in the morning for Steve Asmussen. Total contrast from Bob Baffert to Steve Asmussen just proves that there's 2 different ways to get it done in the morning.
Is that exceptionally difficult, though, with a horse who is so fast in the afternoon? Jackie's Warrior is lightning quick.
He is, but he knows when it's time to run, and he'll run when it's, race time and run when he's in company. That's probably why he works solo there. He's very manageable for the exercise rider, and a part of a theme that I keep saying with these good horses, not only physically, you've got to have the mental wherewithal to be a good racehorse. Very good racehorses, not only physically good, but mentally good. They allow their riders to do what they want, and listen to the commands.
The Cutter Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint, one of the favorites, Jackie's Warrior. So much more to come. And with our coverage from around the country, here is our reporting team on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Happy to have Christina Blacker here with us at Del Mar. She's been at Santa Anita the last couple of days, staying up at Santa Anita, doing a wonderful job. Michelle Yu, and then out in the Commonwealth in Kentucky at Keeneland Racecourse, a little bit drier today. We have Scott Hazelton, and at a very busy Churchill Downs with a lot of key workouts in the Brad Cox barn. Very pleased to have Kate and Bradar. Once again, here at Del Mar is Joaquin Jaime, and that's where we start.
Hey, Todd and Simon, good morning to you guys. It was just a few days ago on October 27th that marked the 20th anniversary of Tiznow winning back-to-back Breeders' Cup Classics. But, of course, there was so much more to that story with the terrorist attacks of September 11th, just 6 weeks prior. Coming up later in the show, we are going to revisit that, and we will look back at the 2001 Breeders' Cup at Belmont Park. And, of course, yesterday, one of the big stories was Latruska and her morning workout. I'm going to go back to the barn and have a chat with her trainer, Fausto Gutierrez, and get a follow-up and see exactly how she is doing this morning back at the barn. Plus, we'll also tell you her story, just exactly how she came here from Mexico to U.S. and just exactly how that story transpired. So much more to come here from the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, but let's go to Scott Hazelton at Keeneland Racecourse.
Joaquin, very busy morning. We already had a workout this morning from Kenny McPeak. Tis the bomb. In fact, right now at the quarter pole, we've got Golden Pal and Averly Jane. They're going to hit the wire. We got Wesley Ward behind us. So let's kick it out to Louisville, Kentucky, because we've got some work to do here. 2 more sets from Wesley, as there's some key turf workers here today, Caton, for the Breeders' Cup.
Well, Scott, proving once again that flexibility is a major component of a successful trainer. A lot of moving parts in the Brad Cox barn, as the workouts that were originally expected to start at 5:30 this morning got pushed back and changed dramatically, but they all did happen after the renovation break and going forward throughout the entire morning. We're going to tell you all about them with major workouts, including Nick's Go, Essential Quality, and She Dares the Devil. We will update with a live interview with Brad Cox. That's all coming up in just a little while, but right now we'll head to the West Coast at Santa Anita and Michelle Yu.
Thanks so much, Kate. And I will say the racing weather gods have been shining on us literally this morning. As you can see, no sign of the fog, which really hindered our visibility here yesterday. It is perfectly clear. We can see all the workouts as they happen, which is good. We've already had one occur this morning at the 6:30. We'll bring you that one a little bit later. But coming up, we're going to have Private Mission, who has his last work. Also, we are going to be having a pair from the John Sheriff's barn, both Astronaut and Express Train, going to be putting in their final paces coming up shortly. And then we'll head back to the barns, walk around, and see what we can see. By the way, that work that we saw earlier, it was Hit the Road. And that horse is trained by Dan Blacker. His wife, Christina, has deserted me up here, but she's all the way down in Del Mar. Christina, we miss you.
Michelle, I miss you, and I'm looking forward to seeing that work, certainly. I jumped in the car this morning, had to be here at Del Mar because we are getting very, very busy here where the turf meets the surf, and we're actually going to step onto the turf course for the first time this morning. The track opened on October 25th, but we have just seen main track training to this point. Today is the first opportunity to take a spin on the turf course or put in a work if you would like to. There are 2 times for the turf training, 7:15 and 9:30. At 7:15, we're going to see some of the international horses. We're expecting a Case of You, Van de Garde, Marsh Lorraine, and then at 9:30 it will get very busy. Peter Miller, Richard Baltus, Phil Diamato, working many of their horses. Those are horses like Mo Forza, like Going to Vegas. Todd and Simon, it's going to be an exciting show from start to finish today as we're putting in these final works.
Happy to have you here with us, Christina, on site at Del Mar. But let's take you out to Keeneland Racecourse. We heard Wesley Ward talking a day ago with Scott Hazelton about all the rain that they had in the area, but he has full confidence in that turf course. He loves that turf course. He likes the turf course with more give in it, he said, because you're less prone to injury on a turf course that has that much give in it.
Yeah, if you have a little give in it, it's not as firm. It's like, you know, the Europeans like what they call good ground, where they say get their toe in the ground. So there's just a little softness, a little moisture in the turf course, absorbs some of the concussion, and horses get through it fine. And look, he has no problem with it. He's stabled there year-round for the most part. He probably sees rain consistently throughout the Midwest, and he's used to working over it. So don't be alarmed that he's working on a soft turf course there and coming out here on a firm turf course.
Okay, what about the pairing that he had in the workout we're about to see? Averly Jane is a 2-year-old filly who is headed towards the juvenile turf sprint. So she'll run against the boys, but she's paired up with Golden Pal, who's a 3-year-old colt who is headed towards the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. What about a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old working out here?
Yeah, you don't see this matchup very often, excuse me, especially going into big days like this. Look, a trainer earlier on in their career with a 2-year-old will pair up a 2-year-old with a 3-year-old and older horse to see if they really are the goods. If a 2-year-old can outwork a 3-year-old older horse that's got some form, pedigree, and decent form, race form, that's a good indicator that the 2-year-old is good. But at this stage, you wouldn't ask or see many trainers do this move. I have no problem with it, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's kind of interesting. That's Golden Pal in behind, right? So you can see you got 2 sprinters, horses that want to go fast. They're going off to the pole now. Now they're into their work here. And Averly Jane in front, very manageable. She's doing good. They're not going very fast here. I mean, this is just absolutely just cruising around here right now. Golden Pal sitting on the outside and just, going to ease up. I would imagine, without knowing the instructions here, they're told to finish together, Todd. You wouldn't want to blow the doors off Averly Jane a week before the Breeders' Cup here. So they're told to finish up. And you can see the exercise rider on Golden Pal just drifted out in the middle of the track a little bit, coming around the turn and trying to hang on to the older horse to stay with Averly Jane. It's exactly what I predicted. They were told to finish heads up.
And yesterday was closing day at Keeneland Racecourse. They did keep one race on the grass during the afternoon, and the turf course was listed as soft. So this is a turf course, as we said, that has been drenched but has held up perfectly. Wesley Ward confident in it, and he should be confident in Averly Jane. She is 4 for 4 coming in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint.
Exactly, and that turf course, that's the type of work you want to do on it. You want to keep the horses held together. You want to keep the bit high in the horse's mouth so there's no missteps on a turf course. But very good workout from both of those. Okay, so we have Arrest Me Red and Coffee Maker. So a similar situation here. Coffee Maker, 2-year-old filly, headed toward the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, and Arrest Me Red headed towards the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Yeah, Arrest Me Red coming off the gate-to-wire victory in the Belmont Turf Sprint. Arrest Me Red is in behind the bay there, and you've got the 2-year-old in front. Similar sort of work. You can see how soft it is. Look how it's getting chewed up. That's the tracks from the previous stablemates going through there. So, yeah, this turf course is safe, don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't want to do any hard work on this. You wouldn't want to set a horse down, let them have their head, just because, you know, the soft yielding conditions underfoot. You don't want them misstepping, slipping, or just getting off balance, causing the susceptible to injury there. So, again, just a nice, comfortable work in hand. They're going to get a little more out of it going in company, even though they haven't been given their head, than they would if they were going solo. But wait, there's more. What? Wesley Ward has another pairing. Twilight Gleaming and Kamari are going to be coming out. So we've already watched 2 sets of workouts here, all from Wesley Ward's barn, and each of these horses, again, 2-year-old versus 3-year-old, different spots on the Breeders' Cup weekend, with the 2-year-olds going to Future Stars Friday, and then we have our 9 championship races on Saturday, included in there the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. So Wesley Ward has shown the entire world his methodology works wherever he's going, and we're getting to see that on display this morning here, breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Coffee Maker finishing up along with Arrest Me Red out in Lexington, Kentucky, and still ahead Twilight Gleaming, who will be headed towards the Juvenile Turf Sprint, and Kamari for the Turf Sprint. Standing by at Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky, Scott Hazelton.
Here with Gatewood Bell, the man of Hat Creek Racing, and Averly Jane, the speedster who was so impressive here at Keeneland. We just watched her work with Golden Pal. What was your initial impression?
Yeah, she was moving great. It looked just like the work she had right before the Indian Summer a couple weeks ago. So fingers crossed she comes out of it well and onwards.
How excited are you for your crew and the partners to head to Del Mar with an opportunity like this with Averly Jane?
It's very exciting, yeah. All the partners, I think we've got 30 partners in this filly, and literally 26 of them are coming out, and everybody's really excited. And, yeah, it's been a lot of fun just to be able to provide these friends with such a special opportunity like this, and everybody's embracing it, and it's all in the build up to it. So the actual race will just be the icing on the cake, I think.
And when she won here, the winner's circle was fantastic. One of the best winner's circle moments of this fall meeting, and the kids were out. What was it like? What was their reaction to that celebration?
Yeah, no, we made a lot of memories that day. There was 29 kids in the winner's circle, and literally every single one of them was a spawn of one of our partners, and it was just really exciting. A lot of memories were made. Got a lot of future owners and future gamblers in that crowd, I'd say.
When you first were picking this filly out, what was it about her that led you to her at the auction?
I mean, she just had a real sweet way of going, real nice top line. We've had luck before with midshipmens. I love the UK program, and so I always go look at their horses, and found one that I liked. She was just really athletic, and obviously didn't think we'd be talking about her for this, but that's always the dream.
Yeah. And she's got a huge shot. We look forward to it, and good luck to you and the partners, Gatewood.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Averly Jane, a spawn of midshipmen, and how about this? Bred by the University of Kentucky.
Right. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? Made in a lab.
Twilight Gleaming. What was your senior project? Oh, breeding Averly Jane, going on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint.
Go Cats.
Go Big Blue. All right, CATS. Yeah. Kamari is getting ready out at Keeneland, and Kamari will be going to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. When we look at the sheer numbers here for Wesley Ward in these 2 races we're talking about, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint and the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, in a way, I understand with this being an international destination, the Breeders' Cup, they were always going to probably add turf races to draw more foreign interest. But I think the rise of Wesley Ward has also led to a lot of these races and the growth of turf sprints and Future Stars Friday.
Well, he set the table on the trips to Royal Ascot, right? I mean, he set the trip to he set the bar for going to Royal Ascot. I mean, many trainers followed him after they saw that he had success, and I agree with you. Look, Wesley, this is his division. Like, he loves sprints. It doesn't matter whether it's on the main track or the turf, as he's on the phone and looking over and taking care of business there. You can see, I mean, just how busy this type of morning is for a trainer. They got horses working. He's probably communicating with, somebody back at the barn, communicating with owners as well. But they come onto the turf course here and they're going to work a pair. But you're right. I mean, this is his division, sprinting. You don't see Wesley Ward with many horses that run 2 turns. This is where his focus is.
And rightly so. He's not just coming with numbers to the Breeders' Cup. He's coming with serious racehorses.
Yep.
They're not there unless they belong. And watching here, Kamari and Twilight Gleaming, part of Future Stars Friday, will be, and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And then Kamari will be on Saturday and the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Working here live on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup from Keeneland Racecourse over the turf.
Well, here's the thing. Kamari's in behind, older horse in behind. She hasn't run since April in the Madison. She won the Madison on the dirt, but that was a grade 1 on the dirt. But she is very accomplished on the turf. She's actually undefeated on the dirt, 2 for 2. And in the filly in front of her, Twilight Gleaming, this underscores Wesley's international foray. She broke a maiden at Belmont, went to Ascot, was second in the Queen Mary, and then won a little stake at Deauville. She's been idle since, but she's got the blinkers on the inside here, and this is just a carbon copy. He's done he's done the identical work with all 3 pairs that he's brought out here. Put the older horse in behind, let them draw up to the 2-year-old, and then just let them finish in tandem together.
Watching live here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, Kamari, the older horse in this pair, with Twilight Gleaming. They'll be on opposite days of the Breeders' Cup with Future Stars Friday. The emphasis on 2-year-olds this Friday, November 5th. And then on Saturday of the Breeders' Cup, you will see, as part of the 9 championship races, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. It's interesting, if you just watched everything we just showed everyone, these 3 sets from Wesley Ward coming out, everything kind of looked identical to me.
Yep, all the same, absolutely same, like we said. 2-year-old working with an older horse in behind, draws up. I mean, if you put these in a box side by side by side, they would look identical, and I'm sure that's exactly how Wesley wanted it that way.
And we will have reaction from trainer Wesley Ward to the workouts that you've just watched here. And Scott Hazelton out of Keeneland.
Wesley, the same approach in all 3 of these sets. Horse out in front, horse behind. What's the mindset in conducting workouts like this on the grass?
Well, we put the 2-year-olds in front, and this way the older horses, are faster now, have a target to go at. And Julio, he just kind of sits back there and he comes to him and doesn't try to win a work or anything. He's just looking for the horses to get in and out of the work as sound as they are now.
The first set, you had Averly Jane out in front, Golden Pal finishing behind. What was your take on that work?
Our plan was to go slow because the track was deep. And the turf is deep today with all the rain, and they're going to get a lot out of it. So they went really, really slow and easy the first part and kind of cruised down the lane. And it was a maintenance work for both horses coming off races here at Keeneland. They didn't really need to do a lot, just enough. And the deep turf will enable them to get the air that we wanted.
Coffee Maker, Arrest Me Red, your take on that set?
That was a very good work. Coffee Maker has worked well from the onset of when we first started breezing her, so I knew she was, be tough to slow down, which she was. And she cruised right along, and Arrest Me Red, who is a big, heavy colt, he gets a lot out of this deep turf, so it really was an ideal workout. And they galloped out strong, which is unusual for Julio. He likes to pull them up, so that just kind of indicates how good the horse is doing.
Twilight Gleaming Kamari, you told me the other day Kamari's doing the best that maybe she's ever done. Did you see that today in her workout?
This is the first time we breezed with the shoes. She's trained with no shoes all along, and so I knew she would work very, very good today having shoes to where she could get a hold of the course, and she did. That was a very, very impressive breeze for both horses. Twilight Gleaming being 2 against a seasoned, a multiple graded stake winner like Kamari. It was a very, very eye-opening breeze there.
Why no shoes prior and shoes today for Kamari?
I train a lot of my horses without shoes. I just think that when they're running, the shoes help you to. It's kind of like putting cleats on traction, and it allows them when they put their feet down to kind of slide through it and then pull. It's not so stressful on the legs.
Was there a standout workout of these 3 sets in your opinion?
Well, it was a little distorted as the first one. We planned to go so slow, but the last one was probably the best of the 3 sets.
Thanks for the time, Wesley. We'll see you at Del Mar.
Thank you.
Scott, thank you for the knowledge, confirming a lot of what we were talking about, and also some extra insight there regarding the shoes. That was impressive out of Keeneland. When we come back, we're going to go 64 in the Commonwealth, heading west to Louisville, Churchill Downs, where trainer Brad Cox already kind of started the Breeders' Cup. The horses he had out this morning, Knicks Go, Essential Quality, She Dares the Devil. You'll see them all when we return on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
Longines.
You know this type of place. You might even work in one. Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
Welcome back to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. I'm Todd Schrupp alongside Simon Bray. Coverage from around the country on site this morning at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Kaiten Bradar, she joins us well as we talk about Essential Quality. First of all, Kaiten, you said this workout was delayed a little bit. What time did Essential Quality come out of the track as we're watching this, and how far was Essential Quality going to go?
Todd, this is 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the break for renovation that's reserved specifically for workers. Originally, he was going to go at 5:30 a.m., but the decision was made very early to push it back, just in the hopes that the track would be maybe a little bit drier and in a little bit better shape. And it was a 5-furlong workout from the half-mile pole. Basically, this is routine for Brad Cox's workers. He likes to work them past the finish wire so that they get a good, strong gallop out past the finish. He's in company with a horse named Colonel Bowman, who's on the inside, Essential Qualities on the outside, with Florent Giroux on board. And as is the custom, Essential Quality was behind Colonel Bowman when they broke off. He's going to be on even terms with Brad Cox, communicating to both riders via a walkie-talkie, telling them exactly how fast they're going throughout the work. And you can see Essential Quality sees workers in front of him and really picks it up here.
That is fascinating, Simon, because the work is done, but not done.
Right, exactly. You can see on the gallop out. So a lot of trainers will work past the wire. They don't want the horse getting accustomed to shutting down at the wire at the racetrack, so they work them past. But you saw them. I'm telling you, as far as looks, I mean, look, years ago on the show, we used to grade works and how horses look. I mean, this horse is an A+. I mean, going to the pole, he looked phenomenal. I think he's really developed and put on some weight throughout his 3-year-old year, and he is really filled out. He looks absolutely tremendous, outstanding.
And that is something that Brad Cox told Caton, and Caton also observed as well, just how he is filled out with the time off, having not raced since late August in the Travers. Caton, we also had Nick Sko out there preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. How different is this workout to what we just watched with Essential Quality?
Now, this is right after and solo, as you can tell, and he has his regular exercise rider on board. Same distance, breaking off from the half-mile pole, but you can see a little bit more equipment. He has a set of rings on board, and his head is cocked just a little bit, and this is very typical for Nick Sko. It's just because he's being restrained a little bit more, but as soon as the rider lets his head out a little notch, you're going to see him even out his stride and even out his head carriage, and he goes very, very nicely under the wire, and similarly gallops out strongly. It's a 5-furlong workout with the bulk of that finishing out past the wire. It's a slower time than Essential Quality, but I think that's by design. Again, there was communication to the wire to the rider throughout the entire workout, so I think this was exactly what Brad was looking for. Nick Sko's just a higher energy horse, and he's raced more recently, so he didn't need as much as far as the timing of the races and the fitness factor. I think they were looking for maybe a little bit quicker workout for Essential Quality as opposed to Nick Sko.
Real quick before we get to the next one, you see the difference there? You've got Essential Quality working in company with a jockey on board, okay? Here you've got a Nick Sko working solo, that's the first, working with more equipment on rings and working with the exercise, right? And the reason for that is, Caton alluded to it, this is a more up-tempo horse. He's very fast in the afternoon. And from a trainer's point of view, at least from me speaking, you wouldn't want to put a jockey on this horse a week out before the race and have him risk going too fast in the afternoon. Better slower than faster with this type of horse.
And that was Hugo Garcia, the exercise rider aboard Nick Sko. It'll be Joel Rosario who will be riding him in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Also out for trainer Brad Cox was She Dares the Devil. She comes in with back-to-back wins, including one right here at Del Mar, the Grade 1 Clement Hirsch. And Caton, much nicer conditions here, it looks like, for She Dares the Devil.
Now, with Laurent Giroux on board, who was also aboard Essential Quality earlier, this work happened, the latest of all, at about 9 o'clock after the track had been closed and then reopened. And she had to wait a little while before the tractors had cleared, and there was a lot more traffic than you would expect. But once she got out there, she just kind of did her thing. It was a very routine workout, again, from the half-mile pole. She gallops out in 1 minute and 3/5 of a second, and she's well in hand. You can see her head carriage is just a little bit higher. She does this very easily and comfortably. Florent was communicating again, Brad telling him how fast she's clipping along there, and it was pretty steady throughout.
And She Dares the Devil already knows she can beat the favorite in the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff, Latruska, because she did that in the Azeri at Oaklawn Park earlier this year.
Yeah, that was a great matchup. She beat her by a head. That's certainly going to be another repeat matchup we're looking forward to. But yeah, very nice work, easy work. This is a filly that's just going in second gear. Florence got a hold of her the whole way around there. Didn't give her a head, didn't need to. All he has to do is just smooch to her, drop his hands, and she's gone. And you see the walkie-talkie on the back of it. We should mention that. We haven't mentioned that for those that, haven't followed over the last, I would say, 10, 15 years. Bob Baffert was the one who brought those in vogue. As I said at the beginning of the week, the trainer's job is to take risk out, right? Eliminate the risk. And that's just another way of eliminating risk. Two-way communication. Trainer in the stands with the walkie-talkie. Rider, jockey in this case, got the walkie-talkie and the earpiece in, can tell them to pick it up, slow it down, watch the loose horse out on the track. Maybe yesterday with Latruska, hey, don't break off now, there's a horse in front of you. So you just got to eliminate the risk.
Trainer Brad Cox communicating with his exercise riders, and when we return here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, he'll be communicating with all of us. He'll be talking to Caton Bradar about how he felt the workouts went this morning with some of the biggest stars of the Breeders' Cup. He'll be bringing here to California at Del Mar. We'll be back.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access, analysis, and action from anywhere. Download today and get a $300 risk-free bet on the Breeders' Cup. TVG. Onto the app, off to the races.
At Calumet Farm, we're proud to offer proven stallions to fit every breeder's needs. With over 72 million in progeny winnings on dirt and turf, our diverse roster is producing the champions of today and tomorrow. Calumet Farm, a legacy reborn.
There's something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day, and the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front.
It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the Woodward.
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
Another look at Essential Quality as he completes his workouts and preparations for the Breeders' Cup Classic this morning at Churchill Downs, and back at the Brad Cox Barn as the trainer prepares for another run at the championship. Brad, you got to feel a little bit of a sigh of relief to have those workouts out of the way.
Yeah, for sure. They were all scheduled for yesterday early, and we obviously had a lot of rain over the last couple days and not much sunshine. So, this track was still a little wet this morning, but overall, considering the amount of rain and lack of sunshine, I thought it worked out really well. We had a good track.
Did you feel that pushing back made any difference?
Yeah, I was happy with the track. 7:30, I was pretty happy with it. There's still some wet spots in it. But Essential loves it. I mean, I think that's the Tappet coming out of him. He really likes the wet track, and he loves to gallop over it. So I really didn't think it would affect him that much either way. And I was super happy with Nick's go as well. So overall, it worked out extremely well.
All right, the Essential Quality workout, I know we've talked a lot about him not necessarily being that spectacular type of workhorse, but I thought that was kind of a spectacular work this morning.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I told Florent, was going out to 5/8, pick off those horses in front of him. Obviously, they were slowing down and he was still going, but it was good for him to just go on and go by those horses, and it just shows how well he's doing right now. I think a lot of people have kind of been on the question mark, kind of scratched their head when they watch him breeze and then watch him run in the afternoon, but that was about as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned. He came back, scoped good, happy with the way he looked, and hopefully he looks good tomorrow morning and off to California.
Routine workout for Nick's go. A lot keeps being made about the 1.25 miles. What are your thoughts about that?
He's by Painter. Painter was by Awesome again. He was a 1.25 mile horse, and I don't see anything that this horse is not done in his 1 1/8 races and his gallop outs to make you think that he wouldn't go 1.25 miles. Obviously, you never know till you really ask him the question and the competition, right? Like, he might be able to go 1.25 miles against grade 3 horses, but can he go 1.25 miles against grade 1 horses? I thought the Whitney was a pretty good group of horses, and he showed that he could go. I think he could have got another 1/8 of a mile that day, and obviously this is going to be his toughest test to date, but I think he's up for it.
And in terms of the pace up front, obviously it looks to be a little bit more intense than what he's tackled before, but his best weapon is certainly his speed.
Yeah, he seems to clear off in the turn, and there's probably going to be a little more pace in this race. Well, I mean, you say that, in the Breeders' Cup Mile they went pretty fast. They went 22:44 and he kept going. Granted, that was a mile. This is 1.25 miles. So, he is able to go extremely fast early and kick on. I know Keeneland was fast that day, but, that was an impressive race. And, we're going to ask him to run out there and see how it goes.
She Dares the Devil seems to keep doing what she's been doing all along and looked awfully good this morning.
Yeah, she looked really good. I was really pleased with that move. She's very steady. She gets into that, that 12 and 1 range and just keeps banging those out, 12, 12, 12. And Florent was really pleased with the move. She was just cruising around there. She really liked the track, it seemed like, and I think she's set and ready to roll.
She's beaten Latruska once before, but she seems to be a little under the radar coming into this year's distaff.
Yeah, she always has been. Even before the Kentucky Oaks, we thought she had a big shot in the Kentucky Oaks. She ran a race and it worked out well. But, it's still like, I think maybe I run her back a little quick in the Spinster last year, and then this year she beat Latruska. But she never does it like a flash. She gets the job done. She doesn't really receive the bigger figures that some of the other mares receive, and but she's a racehorse, and when she gets in battle, she shows her heart and determination, and if she turns for home and she can get her head in front, she'll be tough.
We've been talking a lot about the role of exercise riders in particular, and I know you have a few that have been real instrumental parts of your team. Talk a little about what they've meant. Many were in action today, and some are already on their way to California.
Yeah, those guys. I mean, they're the guys I have. I mean, I feel like they're irreplaceable, or unreplaceable, I should say. But no, they're great guys. They're athletes, really. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just, they're athletes. They're strong, and you got to mix and match. It's kind of like having a bullpen. Some of them fit different horses. You'll find out a horse is real tough or high energy. You may have a rider that fits that type of horse a little better, or a filly that one of the riders gets along with a little better. So it's kind of like mix and match. They're all different, but they're all good in their own way. So we got a great group, and I wouldn't trade them for anybody. These guys are fantastic. They really fit our program, and they're very, very valuable.
And as we wrap it up, I do want to express my appreciation to the whole team here, Brad, as well as Hugo and Fernando, and we didn't see Edvin this morning as he is on the way to California. And Katie was aboard, I think, many of the horses over the summer, though she hasn't been in action this go-around. But everybody's been very cooperative. And, Todd, as you know, this will be my last time here, but I'll be joining you guys shortly. But wishing the team well as they all pack up and ship out tomorrow.
Kaiten, you are the gold standard of how to report, especially with limited. She's basically doing the work of 10 people, but it's just her, a camera person, and the cooperation of the Brad Cox barn. Kaiten, thank you. Brad Cox, thank you. Best of luck coming out here to California. We're going to come back with more workouts, a lot of live workouts still ahead on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. More coming up right after this.
PNC Bank believes that if a pair of goggles can help your backhand get better, then your bank should help you budget even better. Virtual Wallet is so much more than a checking account. Its low cash mode feature gives you at least 24 hours of extra time to help you avoid an overdraft fee.
You see that?
Virtual Wallet with low cash mode from PNC Bank. One way we're making a difference.
You know this type of place. You might even work in one. Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
This gleaming chestnut wins by 6 on debut, with the promise of bigger things to come. Justify, he's on a dizzying ascent to greatness.
What do you do when the experts compare you to legends?
Justify has won the Kentucky Derby. He's unstoppable. He won the Preakness. Justify is the 13th Triple Crown winner.
You justify it.
West Coast champion 3-year-old colt and multiple Grade 1 winner with over $5 million in earnings. He dominated the Pennsylvania Derby by more than 7 lengths and went wire to wire in the Travers, defeating all 3 Classic winners.
I would say the Travers was his best performance. He just got out there with that big frame of his and he just galloped away from a fantastic field of horses.
A descendant of the AP Indy sire line, West Coast stands to continue that legacy at Lane's End.
My favorite horse during the TVG era is Tiz Now. I remember reading early on, not only was he a California bred, but he was also born and raised at Harris Farms. I grew up in Fresno, California in the Central Valley, and Harris Farms is only about 90 minutes away just off the I-5. Tiz now didn't race until age 3, eventually when he made it on the racetrack. He showed that he had a ton of talent, but I loved his heart and I loved his courage. And you saw that in his 2 Breeders' Cup Classic wins, holding off Giants Copway on his outside at Churchill Downs, and then having to re-rally and come back and defeat Saki at Belmont Park in 2001. And there was so much added significance on that Breeders' Cup Classic win at Belmont Park because of what happened with the terrorist attacks on our country on September 11th, just a few weeks prior.
On the outside, Saki. Tiz now fights on. Here's the wire. Desperately close. Tiz now wins it for America.
He's still the only 2-time Breeders' Cup Classic winner for Tiz now. He also has 3 Eclipse Awards. How cool is this? I got to hang out with the only 2-time Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Tiz now, today. And the good folks at WinStar Farm, so kind and generous that they were able to give me Tiz now's turnout halter.
It is a singular accomplishment, and as each year passes here at the Breeders' Cup, it becomes more impressive, winning back-to-back Longines Breeders' Cup Classics. We will revisit that story of Tisdale and his accomplishment, but there's so much more to the story, and you'll hear about it here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. We'll also be back with more live works leading up to the 2021 Breeders' Cup. Thanks for watching us here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
The November sale is a destination event for buyers and sellers around the world.
The ambiance during the September sale was incredible.
As we move into Keeneland November, I think people will find a new experience, a new atmosphere, new optimism. Anybody who participates, buying and selling, when they participate in Keeneland, they're reinvesting in the industry. That is the mission. It allows us to build for the future, and the future is bright.
The future is bright at Keeneland November.
Longines.
Welcome back to the site of the 38th running of the Breeders' Cup this Friday, November 5th, and Saturday, November 6th at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. This is Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. I'm Todd Schrupp alongside Simon Bray. As you kind of saw going out to break there, our stage is on the infield here at Keeneland, or at Del Mar. So many great spots to be here. And on the grounds with us at Del Mar is Joaquin Jaime.
And Todd, here the renovation break is over, standing right next to the 7-furlong chute. There was a significant change that was announced just a few moments ago. I was able to confirm with one of the outriders right now, and we saw the incident that happened yesterday with Latruska getting hooked with some unexpected company down the backstretch. The first 10 minutes right now, with the track just opening, the first 10 minutes here at Del Mar are going to be reserved for breezers only. Doesn't matter if you're running on opening day, stakes races, graded stakes races like the Breeders' Cup. The first 10 minutes are going to be reserved for breezers only here on the main track, Christina.
Yeah, adjusting a little bit based on what we saw yesterday, right? There are a couple horses coming out right here at this front gap. I'm on the front side of the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. We are awaiting Giant Game in just a few moments for Dale Romans. He actually just walked up and is going to keep an eye on that runner training. And also CZ Rocket is tacked up. We're expecting a work from CZ Rocket right here at 7:45 as soon as the track opens. So standing here, keeping an eye on the next set to hit the track at Del Mar. How about you, Michelle?
Well, Christine, I'm getting my steps in for right now. We just followed Express Train out. That's him right there with Victor Espinosa up to get a feel of him. I'll tell you one thing. He's a pretty fast runner, but for sure he's a faster walker than I am. Also, Astronaut is on track. Forward trainer John Sheriffs, and we also have Private Mission going out. Also, second set after this particular break. Medina Spirit will be jogging after his work a couple days ago, so we'll catch up with him as well.
Express Train going to the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic as an upset possibility. After all, he did win the Grade 2 San Diego handicap here.
Yeah, I mean, he likes this track here. He's had 3 wins over this surface, so but it's a tall order, especially having watched Essential Quality work this morning.
CZ Rocket, what to make of him? Coming into the season, he was without a doubt the leader of the Breeders' Cup Sprint Division, but it doesn't seem like that's the case anymore. He's out here this morning at Del Mar.
Yeah, I mean, look, what the Connections have done with this horse has been phenomenal. They claimed him for 40. He rattled off a bunch of wins. He's won a couple of races this year, but he just doesn't seem to be quite the horse that he once was. I mean, he's right there in Greatest Stakes competition. He's finishing behind Dr. Schivel, Ginobili, who I think's got a huge shot in the dirt mile. So he's been facing some good horses. But look, this is him on the track this morning. Big, good, strong horse, built like a sprinter, moving well. Exercise rider aboard here, just lowering down their center of gravity. You can see not really asking this horse, not doing anything, just staying motionless. These sprinters, you just give them a little cue, whether it's a move of the hands or a little cue, a verbal cue by smooching, they'll be gone. They take off, and it's better just to err on the side of caution, especially as we're only a week out here.
CZ Rocket preparing for the Cutter Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. He was second in this race last year, and as Simon pointed out, he does have a couple of wins this year, but the last win all the way back in April at Oaklawn Park in the Count Fleet Sprint Handicap.
The thing I will say, his last 3 starts, he's been beaten by Dr. Schivel twice, and in between that, Ginobili. Those 2 horses are legitimate in their respective races. Schivel in the sprint, of course, and Ginobili in the dirt mile. Maybe he's just been facing some good runners the last couple of starts.
Well, and if there is some type of pace meltdown there, if someone goes with Jackie's Warrior and they go insane up front, you know CZ Rocket is going to be running late. CZ Rocket live out here on the track at Del Mar for the Cutter Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint, getting in some of his serious work. Bella Sophia has a serious task on her hands. She's got to try and beat Gamine and the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. It has been, with the pre-entries, one of the smallest fields in the history of the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, and that is in large part to Gamine. The only logical alternative in a lot of people's minds is this horse, the 3-year-old filly Bella Sophia, who just keeps improving with each start.
She's the threat to Gamine in the race to me, because she's lightly raced, she's improving. She's got some common form lines with Lake Avenue. She dusted her very easily. Gamine beat her by about 1.5 lengths in the Ballerina. Probably not at her best that day. So she's a filly that's certainly on the improve here. And look at her, I mean, she is just a powerhouse. This is, we've seen some East Coast horses here on the West Coast for the first time, and she's breaking off with the pony there.
Okay, back up to Santa Anita. We heard from Michelle Yu. She was following Express Train out to the track. He is now underway in his workout. Obviously, lots of different trainers, each trainer trying to tailor all these programs to the individual. How would you describe John Sheriff's just overall his approach to workouts in the morning?
Very methodical, treats each horse like an individual, outside the box, some of the words I would use, beats his own drum, and does, really tries to get inside the mind of each individual horse. Takes time. He's a trainer that doesn't take his horses out, rush them out on the track and bring them back. Spends a lot of time. And, his Express Train, not a fancy workhorse, and that's no knock against him. He's just not a flashy workhorse. John Sheriff's horses won't go down there in 59 swinging off the bridle. He teaches them to relax and be quiet and be very manageable for the rider.
Express Train, a son of Union Rags, out of the Mine Shaft Mare, I'm a Flake. bred by Dixiana Farms in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, owned by CRK Stable, and as we said, trained by John Sharps. Now, back here at Del Mar, live, getting a look at Bella Sophia. We talk so much about West Coast speed versus East Coast speed, especially in the sprint division. West Coast speed tends to have an advantage in most of these showdowns. Bella Sophia, based on the East, has raced at Belmont Park and Saratoga to this point. Does she fit out here in California? Because she's very, very quick out there. Will that translate here?
I think it will. I think she's a nice. I don't see any reason why she shouldn't be able to handle the West Coast tracks here. You can see her. She's an aggressive filly, clearly. She's got the whole tack room on her head there. She's got the figure 8 noseband going across the nose. She's got the rings on, which you typically keep on. That's that little piece of leather underneath the reins that attach to the neck strap and goes and attaches to the martingale underneath. That's just to prevent the horse from really reaching out and getting into full stride. So this is a situation, working a filly like this, you don't want to move. You just want to guide around there. You could see the exercise rider. He's just sitting there. You don't want to make too much of a move. He angled her out and shifted his weight to get the lead change. But he just wants her to get around there and get through this work in one piece. Very aggressive filly. I would imagine if you asked her to run or if you put in company. How she practices in the morning, how she exercises here, is how she plays out in the afternoon. She's very fast in the morning, I would imagine. She's very fast in the afternoon.
Yeah, if they were playing hide and seek in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint, she could probably hide behind Gamine. But you have to say, definitely a sprinter's build here, and she's quick, and she's probably got another move forward for her, and she'll need it. Gamine, a heavy favorite in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint, but a solid second choice is this filly right here.
I know this is going to be one of the smallest fields in Breeders' Cup history. We touched on it. The post position draw is going to be key.
Do you want her on the rail? Do you want if you think Bella Sophia has her best chance to win, what's her best post?
I think going on the rail, because Gamine a beat to the outside, she probably could rate, and it'll be a nice tracking trip for her. But we know Gamine sometimes drifts out around the turn. If you got that inside slot, maybe you force her out a little wider around the turn. Absolutely, you want the inside.
What a bargain Bella Sophia has been. Purchased for $20,000, has earned over $500,000, and is in line for the $1 million Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Daughter of Awesome Patriot out of the Consolidator Mare Love contract, bred by Two-Tone Farms in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and getting ready for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint on Saturday. More action out here at Del Mar on the track. Right now, Silver State preparing for the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
Grade 1 winner, won the Met Mile. I mean, that automatically puts you into a legitimate contention in the Dirt Mile. Just jogging back there to work out. That's assistant trainer Scott Blasey on the pony. Exercise rider aboard, and horse is just hitting on all 4 cylinders there. Looks very sound. Look, he's a good horse, and he's run against Nick's Go. I mean, he was only 3rd behind Nick's Go, only beaten 6 lengths. I mean, Nick's Go going to be one of the choices in the Classic, so his form is good. Maybe jump something and could be a surprise here. Definitely a horse, I think, from a betting standpoint, to use underneath in exotics, I think.
Well, he's had a phenomenal year. He's 4 for 6, has a 2nd and a 3rd, earned over $1.6 million. Silver State, owned by Winchell Thoroughbreds and Willis Horton Racing. As Simon mentioned, trained by Steve Asmussen. A bay colt by Hard Spun out of the Empire Maker mare Supreme, was bred by Stone Street Thoroughbreds in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Silver State preparing for the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile this morning here at Del Mar. We got a chance to see Warlike Goddess. Bill Mott's horses came in early here to Del Mar, earlier than most. And we saw Warlike Goddess just a couple of days ago here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. And we mentioned she is truly America's best hope in the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, a race in which the Europeans have dominated, but Warlike Goddess has dominated here in the United States this year.
Big question is, how did she ever get beat in the very one earlier in the year? First start of the year, she came from far back, but yeah, she's phenomenal. She's built, you could see going by there, she is built like a middle distance filly, a long distance filly there, kind of a little more daylight underneath her, as we like to say. That's, from the bottom of the girth there to the ground, she's a little sparely made when you put her next to some of these sprinters or these horses like Kamari, big stoutly made sprinter, and that's Bill Mott and the pony. And we've seen a couple of Bill Mott's horses work, right? Where they gallop around, they pull up and stop and start. This one, he's having to take around with the pony. My assumption would be maybe she does a little too much if she was to go around there and gallop on her own. So he'll probably take her around and just go easy here with her, not do too much, pull up, and then start to work.
Another bargain price. This one purchased for $30,000. Warlike Goddess has already earned $700,000. And the biggest opportunity of her career coming up in the $2 million Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf this Saturday at Del Mar. She's a daughter of English Channel out of the Northlight mare Misty North, bred by Calumet Farm, the legendary Calumet Farm in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and owned by George Krikorian, who's had a lot of good horses over the years, but this one is rising the ranks amongst his best.
When you think of George Krikorian, he's had some dirt horses, but usually a lot of his are middle-distance turf horses. I mean, and this is a phenomenal pickup here for $30,000, and to turn her into what she's turned into. Here we go. You see now he's letting her off. She's obviously a little more aggressive in the morning. You can see Exercise Rider's got the neck strap. The key for the Exercise Rider, it's been the theme of the day here, to keep his hands down. He's got his hands in that neck strap. If he were to lift his hands up 6, 7, 8 inches off the horse's neck there, she would put her head up in the air and take off. It's remarkable to me that a filly like this, see how aggressive she is here? But look at her in the afternoon. She goes a mile and a quarter, mile and a half from off the pace.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know whether surface has something to do with it, but she just, when she's in her races, she is the polar opposite to what we're seeing here in the morning.
And a mile and 3/8 will be the task this Saturday in the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. And she took the Grade 1 Flower Bowl at that distance. But what about Del Mar? Does it pose a unique challenge to a horse who likes to come from so far off the pace like she does?
It can, because when you turn for home, it's a short run into the stretch, so you've got to establish position here. She's getting a little warm down the neck there. She's obviously a filly that, slightly temperamental mentally. We've seen her taken to the pole with the pony. We see a little bit of that white lather down the neck on not a typically warm day here. So obviously she's mentally just a little fragile, but what a tremendous job Bill Mott has done with this filly.
And the temperature out here sitting at 61 degrees. It will eventually warm up today about 66.
Yep.
Looking ahead to the 2 days of championship racing, 73 and 74.
Cloudy today, not a gust in the air. I mean, absolutely still air. So perfect conditions for training.
All right, Warlike Goddess live here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. And we rocket back up to Santa Anita to check out Astronaut. And Astronaut in this workout pointing towards the Breeders' Cup turf.
Upset winner, right? The Del Mar handicap 24-1 here for trainer John Scherfs. This is a horse that's bounced around. Steve Asmussen had this horse at Aqueduct, then Tom Albertrani, and then came out here to John Scherfs, and it took a while to break through, but did it 24-1. A lot of seconds, been knocking at the door. I don't know whether the distance has turned this horse around. Looking at the pedigree by Quality Road, John O'Connor, of course, famed Irish horseman. And he likes these mares, these Acatanango offspring. That's a German middle distance champion horse from several years back. So that's where the pedigree comes in. And you can see, I mean, just a different type of mover here over the dirt. You can tell this horse's preferred surface is going to be on the turf, but nothing flashy here.
A mile and a half in the Longines Breeders' Cup turf. Astronaut, as Simon mentioned, a winner last time out here at Del Mar over the turf, taking the Grade 2 Del Mar handicap at 24-1.
Anyone could be an astronaut nowadays.
That's apparently,
right?
it's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
And it was Christina Blacker who picked Astronaut to win the Del Mar handicap last time out at 24-1. We were just looking at Silver State a few moments ago here at Del Mar, coming out onto the track with his last major preparation here for the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
Yeah, this is for Steve Asmussen. So we saw him warming up, standing out there with Scott Blasi, and look at this. I mean, typical Asmussen, all the horses' heads are bowed. And again, another horse that's a little more up-tempo here. Exercise Rider just trying not to do too much here. Got a big cross of the reins, short hold of the head here, and just preventing. And he's looking down at his watch, I think. Yeah, that's exactly. Get a tight shot there. You see the watch. We went through that with Christina Black yesterday and Juan Leiva. You can see the Exercise Rider. He's not hitting the watch. He's just looking down at the stopwatch on his wrist to make sure he's hitting the poles at the right time. So, look, we heard from Brad Cox. I actually want to mention this for some of the uninitiated out there as far as times go. Brad Cox mentioned earlier today that She Dares the Devil was clicking off 12s. That's kind of a standard workout time. If you can go each eighth of a mile in 12 seconds, that will provide you a 5 furlong time of a minute, okay? So 2-minute lick, you hear that term bandied around quite a little bit. That's more than a routine gallop. It's less than the work. That's 15 seconds per every eighth of a mile. So if you ran a mile, that would equate to 120 seconds, 2 minutes. So they nickname it 2-minute lick. A regular gallop, you probably want the horses galloping around 18, 19 seconds for every eighth of a mile.
In horse racing, we measure everything in furlongs, so an eighth of a mile is 1 furlong, and to take that just a little bit further, 220 yards in each of those furlongs. And so here, Silver State, what would you guesstimate that was? Was that a 5 furlong work?
Yeah,
likely?
If that was 5, I couldn't see. Sometimes it's hard up here because we have such a tight shot.
Yeah.
It's hard to see where the poles are. Yeah, I would imagine that's 5 furlongs in probably, I don't know, 1:04, 1:01. That horse was going very easy indeed.
Okay, we'll find out more about Silver State, but we also had a chance to see CZ Rocket with reaction. Christina Blacker.
I'm joined by trainer Pete Miller. CZ Rocket breezing just a few moments ago. What did you see out there, and were you happy?
Very happy. He worked great. Just easy breeze. Never let him run 35-4. Galloped out in 49. So that's what we were looking for, and he looked great. So you know, it's a very tough race, but horse is doing well.
You pre-entered in both the sprint and the dirt mile. Have you made that final decision just yet?
You know, not yet. We'll see. I mean, there'd have to be some of the favorites defect from the dirt mile for us to switch. But so right now we're definitely leaning to the sprint unless something happens.
Coming up later on today, you'll have Mo Forza out on the turf course. What do you need to see from him today?
Just same old Mo, you know. I'm not looking for anything special, just easy half mile, 49, 50. As long as he's happy and healthy, then that's all I can ask for. You know, we've got him fit, I believe, and you know, again, these races are tough, so you know, you just have to get lucky and just try and get your horse in the best possible shape.
He's a horse that I know is very special to you. You had to sit out the Breeders' Cup last year. How meaningful is it to be able to run him on your home track this year?
It means a lot. It really does. You know, Diane Abrams, Barry's widow, and Onofrio, and Barry up above, you know, and his brother. So it's special just to get him in the race. To win, I can't even think about that, but we hope to get him in the race and run his race, and that would be a victory.
Thanks for your time. Good luck with all your runners.
Thank you very much.
Pete Miller, busy as ever here at his home track. He's already won a couple of Breeders' Cups here at Del Mar, looking to do it again this year.
Yeah, he's always in contention for the training title each and every summer, based over at San Luis Rey Training Center right nearby Del Mar. Rudy Rodriguez has come all the way in from New York to be here with Bella Sophia as she had her major workout this morning, preparing for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Joaquin Jaime is with him now.
And Rudy, at Bella Sophia in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint, coming in here off back-to-back graded stakes wins. Just had her final preparations right now. How did she feel out there on the main track to you?
You know, she's been training very good. I just give him, I'm supposed to race him on Friday and Saturday, but I give him another day. We come here specific to let her settle, and she looked like she's been settled pretty good, and I like the way she went this morning. She looks pretty comfortable. Hopefully she come back the way she went in, and we just hope for the best.
She only started her racing career 6 months ago, as we see her right here just off to your right shoulder. Only started her racing career about 6 months ago. When she debuted at Belmont Park, could you ever imagine that you would have been here in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint?
Not really, though, you know, but she was so impressive that day that we throw very high on her right away in the beginning to throw him to and stay. And she don't disappoint us, you know. She started right at the gate, and she run a big race after that, and then we kind of give him an easy race, and she just destroyed the field. And we went to the test, and she showed up the right way, and just a dream horse.
You're in a unique position because you work the majority of your horses in the morning. You're a former rider as well. How much of an advantage is that for you as a trainer now to be able to get on your horses in the morning and work them and give you that different perspective?
I guess it's not an advantage, you know. Just for me, it's good to be able to do that. And I love doing it, you know, and that's what I feel comfortable. But, you know, it's a real big key to do that because, you know, you want to go a little faster, you want to go a little slower, and you can control yourself. And if you mess them up, it's all on me. So, so right now I think that we did good, and we just got to try to keep her fresh and happy.
What do her next couple days look like?
I just gonna jog a couple days and school him in the paddock and just show her the Del Mar and let her soak everything in.
Thanks for the time, Rudy. Good luck in the Breeders' Cup this year.
Thank you, guys, and keep up doing a good job.
Oh, we appreciate that. Let's go to Michelle Yu, now over at Santa Anita.
I literally had to throw myself in front of him, but John Sheriff's going to stop to chat with us. Victor came off the track. I don't think I've seen a smile that big in a long time. Where's your smile, John?
Oh, it's here, right? It's I was very pleased with the Express Train this morning.
What were you expecting from him? What did you get to see? We weren't over there in time to watch him.
Well, you know, so he's been working pretty well. His last, like, 3 works have been pretty good. And today, you know, it's like a progression with him, I think. Today he was very relaxed, breaking off into his stride, hit a nice stride all the way around. And then down the lane, you could see he just extended a little bit, and he did it all on his own. And, you know, he didn't, his ears weren't pinned. He didn't look unhappy. You know, he's like, okay, we're going to go a little bit.
Now, Simon was talking earlier about how you're an out-of-the-box type trainer. You don't do everything just, you know, X, Y, and Z, very black and white. Is this horse a type that you need to have a special training for, or is he more of just a cut and dry, here's your job?
You know, whenever you ask a horse to go to the next level, when you really want them to be at their best and really extend themselves maybe more than they ever had, then you have to get sort of into their head a little bit, right? So you have to do something that's going to give them the confidence to do that, right? So whether it's feeling good, whether it's with the rider talking to them, saying, okay, now, you know, this is it, we're going to have to do a little better, you know. There's all these levels of communication that are really important to a horse.
I think people will be shocked to find out that actually goes on at the barn as well, right? There's a lot of chitter chatter with your horses going on. I can hear it when I walk down the shed row. Yeah, no, like, you know, it's always being comfortable. A horse has to feel comfortable in his environment because, you know, they're animals that are subject to prey, right? So you want to always have them a little bit comfortable and doing things that would be natural for them in their environment. Thoughts also about Astronaut's work. He went out at the same time.
You know, Astronaut has been doing really well, and I didn't see Astronaut work because he was working at the same time with the Express Train. So, but you know, he's solid. He's always good.
What's going to be the time frame for you? Are you shipping out tomorrow, or are you going to wait a day?
Tomorrow morning. Amy, was he good? Of course, right?
Typical. Amy Vasco aboard Astronaut there as they're walking back. Sometimes that's how we get the news, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you say he's solid and Amy says typical, I'm going to say good work for him as well. Thank you so much for joining us, John.
Okay, Michelle.
Appreciate it. John Sheriff's going to be sending out Express Train in the Classic and also Astronaut in the Turf.
Rochelle, thank you very much. And that insight you were talking about, John Sheriff's very cerebral, trying to connect with the horses in ways that maybe other trainers don't.
Right, exactly. I think he harkens back to the horses in their natural environment. He wants to replicate what horses, you know, do in their natural environment as much as they are on a mild dirt track in the middle of an urban area, you know.
We get back into the action on the track here at Del Mar. Stiletto Boy out. He had a big surprise last time out in the Grade 1 Awesome. Again, he finished second to Medina Spirit at odds of 54-1. So the first preference, the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. But as we see him out here this morning, he's wearing the saddle towel for the second preference, and that would be the FanDuel Breeders' Cup, the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
I think they made the right decision. If this is what's going to be confirmed at entry time here, going in the mile, I think. Look, his 2 efforts behind Medina Spirit, they were good. He tried hard. He just wasn't good enough to get by him and replicated both efforts with 3 and 5 length defeats. So I think this is the better option for him. Here he is out on the track. Green bridle, green polos, lots of color on board here, and he's just jogging back the wrong way as we've explained, this horse will probably just only be jogging. I don't know if you look down at his front hooves there, his front feet, you can see what's called bell boots, those protective plastic covers over the horse's hoof. That's to try and prevent them from stepping on each other. You don't want anything like that happening. Yeah, we can get a tight shot of that. You see those bell boots? They look like a bell. That's why they're called bell boots. They just go over the horse's hoof. And you can see the horseshoe there. If the right foot comes up and steps on the left foot or vice versa, there's a risk of pulling the horseshoe off. And when the horseshoe gets pulled off, it can take some of the hoof away with it, the hoof wall, and you don't want that happening a week before the Breeders' Cup. Typically, horses would not gallop with that piece of equipment on.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we're not going to see it work here, clearly.
Because if they, I mean, sometimes you'll see an odd occasion when they'll gallop, but not consistently, because what will happen, and I mean, this goes to show you how minor things can. If you galloped every day with those bell boots on, they would chafe the skin and the hair around the pastern, and in turn open up the skin and cause infection. I mean, that's just kind of the minor things that, or not minor, but the small things that become big problems in a trainer's life.
Stiletto Boy, big long shot wherever he ends up, but it looks like it's going to the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Out on the track here at Del Mar, we'll be back with more preparation leading up to the Breeders' Cup here at Del Mar. You're watching Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
When a new wave calls, you answer. When adventure calls, you answer. When the surf calls, you paddle out. When sunsets call, you find the best view. When the sand in your toes calls, you put more sand between them. When the ocean calls, you wave hello. Because when happiness calls, you answer. San Diego Happiness is calling you back.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access, analysis, and action from anywhere. Get cash back for finishing second or third on all Breeders' Cup races. TVG. Onto the app, off to the races.
Breeders' Cup apparel and products represent everything the Breeders' Cup stands for. Handcrafted, expertly designed. Own a piece of the events that defines an industry. Available at breederscupshop.com.
Been seeing this a lot on social media. Anyone got tickets to the Breeders' Cup? Yeah, the Breeders' Cup has tickets to the Breeders' Cup. There's still time to make your plans to be here for 2 championship days of racing, Friday, November 5th and Saturday, November 6th. Welcome back to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup here at Del Mar. I'm Tom Trupp alongside Simon Bray, but a reminder of where you can go and be here with us, breederscup.com/tickets. That's also where if you are a horse player, you can prove yourself as one of the best horse players in the world with the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. It's a $10,000 buy-in, $7,500 of which goes to your betting bankroll on that day. $2,500 to the prize pool. So based on 400 participants, that would be a $1 million cash prize pool. It truly is the one tournament every serious horse player wants to win. You can play with TVG on site at Del Mar or other satellite locations. Go to breederscup.com/BCBC. Back into the preparations leading up to 2 championship days of racing. Medina Spirit, one of your favorites for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. This is a live look out on the track right now at Santa Anita.
I always say work is important, but you know what's even more important? The day after or 2 days after. I mean, they can work great horses, but it doesn't mean anything if they don't make it through in one piece and, you know, that they haven't recovered sufficiently. This is Medina Spirit. So, you know, we'll touch on this in our training chart segment later on, but we've charted 6 horses throughout the week, Medina Spirit being one of them. He worked a couple of days ago. As is typical, he walked in the barn, the shed row, the day after, and now first day back, he's just going to jog with the pony. And that's typical. A lot of trainers will walk after a workout. They'll come back with either a light gallop or a jog. So that's exactly what they're doing here. It's no different than an athlete having a really hard workout, a hard game, and then just, you know, getting some recovery. You don't see pitchers come back on 2 days rest. They get five days rest between works, and that's typical of a racehorse, 5 to 6 days between workouts. So there he is jogging, and he'll just stay on that outside rail and go around with the pony just there. So make sure, again, nothing happens. Limit the risk. He also has the bell boots on. He's got 4 polo bandages on, as you see a lot. They're not there for support, those bandages. I always get asked that question. Are those there? Are they like an ace wrap? Or are they like an athlete who's all taped up? No. Those polo bandages do nothing as far as support. They prevent, you know, cuts, nicks, and scrapes. They're there for protection, not for support. The bell boots on there as well to prevent any shoes coming off.
Bob Baffert is fond of saying after the last major workout before a race, now we just got to put them in bubble wrap and get them there.
It's true.
That's essentially what they're doing there with what you just talked about.
I mean, look, I can't tell you. I mean, I've just highlighted a couple of things with the bell boots here, but, I mean, just shipping alone is the process of shipping a racehorse into a big race like this is very, very stressful. The minute they step out of a barn, a stall, a van, something can go wrong. And I tell you what, I mean, because when they walk out, if they graze their hip, we had an incident at the Breeders' Cup, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Name escapes me, the horse. The horse scraped its hip coming off the airplane, needed stitches, couldn't run. So can you imagine from going from New York, you're coming out of the stall into the horse van, out of the horse van into the airplane, out of the airplane back into the horse van, back into another horse van, back to the stall. There's so many times things can go wrong. You have to be really, really careful.
Well, looking forward to this Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Medina Spirit, who is best when left alone on the lead, will not have that this time around with Nick's Go in the race. So can he adjust his game to one of the fastest horses in the handicap division amongst the older horses? Nick's Go. Medina Spirit out on the track at Santa Anita. We also had out here at Del Mar, Echo Zulu, who is without a doubt the favorite for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
Big question we keep asking, 2 turns for her, right? I mean, is she going to be able to handle the 2 turns? On pedigree, absolutely. She's by Gunrunner, who won the Breeders' Cup Classic here. Let's take a look at her working out here. And again, Steve Asmussen, Blue Bridle, typical works. They're all going to look the same. You superimpose them on each other. Different types of horse. Excise Rider looking down at his watch again. We saw that with Silver State. This filly's got the rings on. And there he is, looking down at the watch. Doesn't want to go too fast, too slow. Because, I mean, look, Scott and Steve, true professionals. And, you know, they're very intense, but I wouldn't want to be at the wrath of either of them if I'm an exercise rider. Come back, because I've seen it.
Referring to Scott Blasi, the longtime assistant to trainer Steve Asmussen.
Exactly.
There's been a combination that has worked. Echo Zulu, going to be the favorite for the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, part of Future Stars Friday. So the first championship day of racing at the Breeders' Cup, Friday, November 5th. We'll have 5 Breeders' Cup races, all of them for the juveniles, the 2-year-olds, and the 9 championship races on Saturday. Love the packaging of the 2 days, and Echo Zulu is an exciting prospect in the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. We'll come back here with more at Del Mar, but we return to Michelle Yu on the backside up at Santa Anita.
Thanks so much, Todd. I'm actually in the barn of Michael McCarthy. They're planning on shipping their Breeders' Cup horses out this afternoon or late morning right after training here. So like Friars Road, he's going to be one of the horses that's heading on the way. So he's getting all prepared. Before a horse goes, they'll be bandaged up and then put on the van. But it's not just the horses that are going to be making the trip down the 5 freeway. They have to have an advance team that goes out because all the stalls have to be ready by the time they get to Del Mar. So someone has to go and bed all the stalls. They get several bales of straw in each stall for them to ship in. Of course, they need food and water, but also you see all these right here, these eye screws, they have to be put in at Del Mar. Some of the barns here at Santa Anita already have these in, which is great. But at Del Mar, some of the barns are a little bit older, so you have to go in and physically put all of these. So that's 8 of these per stall, plus 2 per bucket, plus another 3 for feed tubs. This is what we hang all the webbings on and whatnot. And of course, you have all your extra accoutrement. So the advance team goes down, gets that stall ready. So when a horse like Friars Road comes down, he's able to step right off the van and into his stall, which is exactly like his stall at home. Also, you got to bring all your equipment with you, right? It's not like everything's down there waiting. So here's a quick peek into Mike McCarthy's tack trunks. You see the jolly balls right there. That's so the horses have some entertainment in the afternoons. An exercise saddle, bags belonging to Friars Road. I don't know what's in that one. That one looks secret. Plenty of polo wraps. You have to have chains for every horse. You see extra gear here. Things like Lysol and rubber bands and hairbrushes. Just things that horses need on a day-to-day basis. A lot of times if you go on vacation and you forget to pack something, you can run down street to the Target and pick up whatever you forgot. But when you're bringing a racehorse on the road, there's not really a store that you can just pop into and grab everything that you might need. So it's a lot of preparation that goes in, even when we're only making a short jaunt down the 5 freeway, Todd.
That's unbelievable insight.
Yeah, well, when she's talking about that, I'm thinking about, okay, they're just coming down the road, as she said, short trip. What about these horses coming from overseas?
Yeah, they've got to bring everything with them, and some of them like to bring feed as well, because you don't want to upset a horse's routine. I traveled horses for Bill Mott for 2 years straight, and, you know, he was so busy at the time, I used to have 2 tack trunks, one that I took with me, then I would come back, I'd already have the other one ready to go. You've got to have everything that you can think of. Most important thing, the fold papers, the identification, the jockey silks, but those eye rings she was talking about, the screw eyes that go in, that's what I was referencing when horses come out of a stall. They can hit those, graze themselves, so you have to be really, really careful. But logistically, it is. I mean, on a smaller scale, it's like the advanced team for, you know, the President of the United States when he goes abroad. They take a, you know, the Marine one with him. They pack up all the stuff. You have to get that all ahead of the time before the horse arrives.
We even saw with Japanese connections coming to the United States, they'd bring their own bottled water.
Yeah.
Bottled water.
Exactly.
And we wish everyone safe travels here to the Breeders' Cup. It is the destination point for the thoroughbred racing world. The Breeders' Cup coming to Del Mar. 2 championship days racing closing in this Friday and this Saturday. More breakfast at the Breeders' Cup after this.
There's something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day, and the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
With 5 champions, 70-plus stakes winners, there is arguably no better proven stallion value than Sky Mesa. Among his leading progeny is Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes winner, Perfect Alibi.
Perfect Alibi runs it hard.
Sky Mesa has a higher percentage of black-type horses to starters than More Than Ready, Malibu Moon, Kitten's Joy, Hard Spun, Candy Ride, and Street Sense.
This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, with Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf and star performers both at home and abroad. Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent stars include War of Will, a classic winner on dirt and Grade 1 winner on turf, Group 1 winner Homesman, and these standout performers. In the auction ring, his progeny continued to command top dollar. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You know this type of place. You might even work in one. Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
Welcome back to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. We wanted to take a moment once again today to highlight the Retired Racehorse Project Thoroughbred Makeover. It was quite popular this year, as it is each and every year. The first Thoroughbred Makeover took place back in 2013 at Pimlico with just 26 trainers. It has since grown up to over 185 trainers in 2015, competing at the park and growing each and every season. You're taking a look at Ashley Love Sugar. What a happy horse, enjoying his second career. You know, these horses out on track, they can go on to do so many things in their second career. This year, the number of competitors checked in at over 1,000 for the 2020 and 2021 period. Looking at Imperative, who's another runner that we had a chance to see out in Southern California. There are so many horses that are out there available for adoption. If you are a horseman or horsewoman, please get in touch with your local facility there to help you rehome a thoroughbred, and hopefully you can one day enter them and compete in the Retired Racehorse Project.
And has become a issue that is forefront in our industry, the careers after the racetrack, and you are part of the TAA.
Yeah, lucky enough to be on the board of the TAA, and it's kind of, the TAA is not a charity in itself. What they do is they govern and accredit facilities around the country. So if you're a TAA accredited, it's like having the Better Business Bureau stamp on your operation. So that's what our organization does. I'm just happy to be a small part of it on the board. And as Donna Barton Brothers once said, also a fellow board member, and it's not just a donation, it's an obligation to what these horses and their careers do after the life at the racetrack.
Most amazing athletes we've ever been around, and they mean so much to us, are equine athletes you get to see at racetracks across the world. We go back to the racetrack here at Del Mar, preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff. Been a busy morning for trainer Steve Asmussen. And here is another horse coming out in a different division, Clairiere.
Coming out of the cotillion, yeah, busy morning for Steve Asmussen. Again, look, see this filly a little aggressive going to the pole, and Clairiere, not really a speedster in the afternoon, but she's got all kinds of equipment on there. You can see she's probably just a little headstrong in the early part. And the transition from a gallop into the start of the work is key. How you start the workout is going to dictate the tempo throughout the work. You don't want to break off too fast, but she's got a figure-8 noseband on, that cross piece of leather across the nose. She's got a tongue tie, and you can see she's very aggressive and probably wants to, do a little more than the trainer wants to do. But the exercise rider doing a great job here, just sitting against her, got a lot of leverage with his feet. You see sitting back against it, got that clock and that watch on his hand, just looking at it. And she is just moving very, very fluidly over the racetrack here. You can see, just look down, tight reins here, just tips his weight forward a little bit, get it to finish up. The last part, go a little quicker the last part than you do the first part. That's every trainer's wish there. And takes another cross of the reins, and she is just a pretty mover. I mean, just floats over the ground.
We were talking yesterday in the context of how do the 3-year-olds match up against their older counterparts in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Well, how does that work in the distaff? The older Latruska, clearly queen of the division. Do the 3-year-old fillies, have they shown you enough throughout the course of the year that they could step up against a horse like Latruska?
I think so. I mean, obviously Malathat would be the one, right? And then Clairiere's run against her. Latruska, I think, obviously is a standout. I think the divide between older horses and 3-year-olds in the distaff division is a little wider than it is maybe in the Classic division.
Great credit to the Breeders' Cup. to always make adjustments because safety is of utmost importance here at this event, just like it is at racetracks across the country on a daily basis. If you were not with us yesterday, Latruska, who is one of the biggest stars of the 2 days, preparing for the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff. So it started out as a pretty normal workout here, and then it changed dramatically.
Yeah, the idea here was Latruska to work solo, not in company, but you can see what happened here. She jumps into a workout and is met by Richard Baltus' trainee on the outside. But as I mentioned earlier in the show, this is like coming onto a freeway off an on-ramp. You've got to pick your spot. And unfortunately, the Baltus trainee was in front of Latruska. I touched on this yesterday when this happened. It's hard to see with such a tight shot here, but the Baltus trainee was in front of Latruska. She, in highway parlance, had the right of way, right? Because she can't go backwards. There's no rear view mirrors. So Latruska was starting her work at the 5/8 pole, and the Baltus runner was starting her work at the half-mile pole. So, unfortunately, it was just a miscommunication. The rider on Latruska probably started his work, didn't look up and see the Baltus runner in front of her. That's why you've always got to keep your head in front of her. It might have been wise for him to maybe just slow down, let the Baltus runner get ahead of her, and this wouldn't have happened.
And the Breeders' Cup, in response to what took place yesterday, then made this time period today when we've been showing you the workouts where it's only Breeders' Cup horses. So all you saw were purple saddle towels this morning during a specific time.
Yeah, and we've shown a couple of works today. This morning you saw, I think it was Neil Pazanski aboard a Bill Mott horse, looking and wait for that chance to jump in on the rail. So just unfortunate circumstances. Definitely not blaming, the Richard Baltus runner. He had his right of way to work, slightly shorter distance. So, as I said, we touched on it yesterday. It's happened, and we'll check in with Latruska later. The most important thing is how she is today.
Yeah, how she came out of it. Back in to the action that is going on today, and looking out to the racetrack here at Del Mar. This is Art Collector for trainer Bill Mott, going to the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Another horse with early speed. So you got Nixco, you got Medina Spirit, you got Art Collector. Something's got to give in those early stages. It'll be fascinating to see. And as we talked about, that post position draw is going to be everything in a lot of races, but certainly in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. And the post position draw is coming up this Monday, which will be in the paddock. We'll have live coverage here on TVG, 2:30 Pacific time. Art Collector, what do you make of his reemergence? Is he good enough to now run with the likes of Nixco, Essential Quality, and others?
Deserves to be here. Got to step it up, I think, take another notch, but he's heading the right direction. I like his numbers are going in the right direction, not those big jumps, increment, just small improvements each and every race, and he's just gone up the ladder this fall here. Bill Mott's done a tremendous job with him. He beat Maxfield last time out, but like you said, post position and the way the race shapes up in the early stages is going to be key for him, because he seems to be a one-dimensional type that likes to be on or close to the lead. He doesn't have to be on the lead.
Well, the Charlestown Classic, he sat in second.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
he doesn't want to be too far back, get shuffled back, but I agree with you. Post position going to be key. Again, we've seen Bill Mott, how he runs his operation here as far as works. This horse going to be ponied, and he'll just let him break off here and ease into his work. But he, you can see he's a horse that obviously is keen to go, and that's how he runs in the afternoon. He's a high-tempo horse, got a lot of early speed, and that's what he's showing off right here. And I think that is Neil Pazanski, former Canadian jockey. He's been a long-time exercise rider for trainer Bill Mott.
Homebred for Bruce Lunsford, Art Collector, a bay colt by Bernardini out of the Distorted Humor Mare Distorted Legacy, bred in the Commonwealth of
Great
Kentucky.
for Bill. Bruce Lunsford's been a long-time owner for Bill. He was an owner when I was there back in the day. So, there's also that. As a trainer, you want to win big races too, but it adds that extra special element to when you have these clients and they become friends, for a long, long time. So it means a little more. Here you go. He's just kind of eased down. And he's going to start his work here momentarily. Again, they're just looking for a spot. You wait. You'll see the exercise rider's going to just look to his left here and wait for a chance to jump in. I don't know whether we can just pull out a little bit, if that's possible.
You're a good director, by the way.
Yeah. Maybe a little more. And then I'll say push when it's time to push.
Push in on those bell boots earlier.
Yep.
And Art Collector. And then, something you've covered before, but maybe worth mentioning, you see other horses going the other direction, too, as well.
Yeah, so there's traffic coming both ways. The horses that are going in the other direction stay on the outside rail. They're not meant to come more than 2 paths away from that purple TVG Breeders' Cup sign. Okay. I mean, you had horses going the wrong way in the middle of the racetrack. What's going to happen? We're going to have a nasty incident here. So the idea is that the fastest horses work on the rail, the work's on the rail, and then as you go out, get a little slower, 2 and 3 paths. So that the gallopers in the middle of the racetrack here. So he's just waiting and waiting and waiting. He's just looking for a spot, and when he approaches the right pole, I'm not sure if we've been given a distance of how far this horse is going to work. Here we go. So he's going to jog into a gallop, and obviously a sense that there's a good opportunity. I think that it's hard for me to sit up there. The 5/8 polo went through. Let's just see. Trying to do this with such a tight shot, it's hard to tell from me how far they're going. But there, he's just eased onto the rail. You see he's coming down from the middle of the racetrack and eased towards the rail. So there he goes. And a perfect perfect entry into the work here. I mean, you want that smooth transition. You just want to go from a jog to a gallop and ease into the work. You don't want an explode out of the gates. You don't want to be like an Olympic sprinter out of the blocks. That's not what you want to do during a workout.
How important is what you see coming out of the turn in these workouts?
I think lead change is key out of the turn. That's something you look for. And what do we mean by that? Look at this horse now. His left front leg, it's better with the bandage on, you can see it, is leading. That's the first leg to hit the ground. Right there, he switched on cue. So look, hardened racetrackers know what I'm talking about, but there's an element in the audience out there that don't understand the lead change. He's on his right front, so you want to be running down the straightaways, leading with the right front leg, and into the turn. Let's stick with it. You're going to see him switch here to the left front when he goes into this turn. It's automatic on cue. Right there. I mean, it's very subtle, and I get it. Some people say, how do you see that? How do you see that? Well, you know, I do this every day of my life for 45 years. But if you're looking for it for the first time, it's hard to pick up. So what's the analogy? Why do horses do that? Well, I hate to go there, the old cliche. It's carrying a suitcase through an airport. You've got a 100-pound suitcase. If you carry it from the car to the check-in desk in your right arm, you're going to be very, very tired. If you carry it half the way and then switch to your left hand, and you'll make it there with less fatigue. That's the analogy. So you can't go around there on one lead. It just doesn't work out. Some horses have done it, most notable being Aladar, of course, but you like to see those lead chains. And if horses don't change leads, if they do consistently and do it on cue, and then 1 or 2 workouts they don't, that's an indicator to a trainer that something is wrong, that maybe there's a problem that's starting to arise.
But everything you saw here, perfect from Art Collector.
Smooth as silk.
Yeah, Art Collector, he is ready for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, coming in on a 3-race win streak. A lot of trainers, some of them can't be here, so they're watching their horses work out on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. Some of them, like Bill Mott, are here, and he is watching on his pony. With our coverage down the stretch, he gets to see Art Collector up close and on the big screen. And checking out the time as this one crosses. That is a gorgeous ground level view, taking you right into the action here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
Wonder if he's got the audio out there too, listening to us.
We'll be back with more right after this.
Here in Pennsylvania, we're proud of our breeding program, the best in North America. But we're also proud to be leaders in this industry. The PA Horse Breeders Association is funding cutting-edge research at Penn Vet into equine health and safety. And we endorse the SAFE Act to help protect the most vulnerable horses. Plus, we're pleased to support the aftercare programs set up by our horsemen's groups. Just a few of the reasons why you should join us in Pennsylvania, the premier place to breed and race.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle. Performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now he's earning his stripes by siring stars. constitution, a natural-born leader.
At Calumet Farm, we're proud to offer proven stallions to fit every breeder's needs. With over 72 million in progeny winnings on dirt and turf, our diverse roster is producing the champions of today and tomorrow. Calumet Farm, a legacy reborn.
Tiz now looms in second. Saki is there on the outside. Guided Tour fights on. Galileo's under a heavy drive. He's still 6 lengths behind. Include will put his run through on the rail. Aptitude is taken wide by Gander. And the field turns for home. Here comes the arc winner, Saki. And he storms to the lead. Saki in their lead. And Tiz now is battling on. The American Horse of the Year. And the arc winner are heads apart with the Farron to go in the Classic. On the outside, Saki. Tiz now fights on. Here's the wire. Desperately close. Tiz now wins it for America. Beating Saki right on the wire. Finishing third with Albert the Great.
Trainer Jay Robbins being embraced and celebrating as Tiz now became the first and to this day only horse to win the Breeders' Cup Classic back-to-back. But there's so much more to the story and how that moment happened, and we will bring you that story a little bit later on here in Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. But right now, we want to see what you're saying on social media. Simon, aside from the tweets telling you how prescient you are with your analysis, what else is being said in Twitter talk?
No, I appreciate one of my favorite segments of the week, presented by our friends at America's Best Racing. Just a few tweets today, just to give you updates on some horses that are coming in and some preparations that are going on. Let's start with the first one here. Some Japanese horses, big contingent coming in. Kate Hunter, if you want to follow her on Twitter, she's one of the best as far as knowledge of Japanese horses. Mori Stables has arrived. Hideyeko Mori is bringing the largest contingent of horses of any Japanese trainer to the Breeders' Cup. He's bringing 4. So they've arrived here at the Breeders' Cup. Looking forward to see that. Another contingent of horses that have arrived, thanks to Mary Ellett. Check this out. The hard-working Outriders, the ponies, a full crew of ponies here. We're going to need some extra ones on hand here with the big contingent of European runners. So Mary Ellett bringing the red crew in, as she likes to call them. She's picking up the brunette later on today as far as the colors go. So thanks to her. Also, who's arrived here is Glass Slippers. Remember last year's Turf Sprint champion has arrived, got on the van and arrived at Del Mar yesterday after shipping over from Europe. And then lastly, of course, what would Del Mar be without Lava Man? He's arrived. The coach is on his way to Del Mar to meet up with Hot Rod Charlie. Remember, Lava Man, of course, one of the best horses that Doug O'Neill has ever trained. He's now a stable pony, and he's referred to as coach because he takes a lot of the horses to the track, teaches them what to do. He'll be taking Hot Rod Charlie to the track in the morning and probably to the starting gate. That's it for Twitter Talk today. We'll check back with this segment tomorrow, thanks to our friends at America's Best Racing. Now let's check in with Joaquin Jaime once again. Joaquin?
Yeah, Simon, and continuing on with the social media theme here, as we've been discussing over the past couple days here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, we are trying to find the best Breeders' Cup race call of all time, going back to the inaugural year in 1984 at Hollywood Park. We started off with the round of 16. We have moved into the round of 8. This is the elated 8 that you're looking at. And the bracket that we're going to zone in on right now is the 2009 Breeders' Cup Classic, which was won by Zenyatta. And she is going to be taking on DeHaas, a two-time Breeders' Cup Mile winner. He won for the first time in '96 up at Woodbine, followed it up with the victory in 1998 at Churchill Downs. Let's start first with Trevor Denman with the call, the 2009 Breeders' Cup Classic.
On the far side, Girolamo. Einstein is right there. Summerbird at the rail. Twice Over is next. Then Awesome Gem. Gio Ponti's behind that. Then Richard's Kid. And now here's Zenyatta. And let's see. Zenyatta has a lot of ground to make up. Zenyatta, if she wins this, she'll be a super horse. She's starting to pick them off, though. Zenyatta going to hook to the outside. Meanwhile, it's Colonel John. Summerbird in the red cap. And Zenyatta's come to the outside. Zenyatta coming flying on the grandstand side. Gio Ponti on the inside. Summerbird is right there. This is unbelievable. Zenyatta, what a performance. One we'll never forget. Looking unbelievable. But it is Zenyatta, still unbeaten under Mike Smith. Gio Ponti second, Summerbird, and then Richards Kid. What a dramatic performance. One of the most sensational ever. Zenyatta wins the Breeders' Cup.
Reigning Horse of the Year, Favorite Trick is right there. That day is moving with Favorite Trick. As they approach the top of the stretch, they are in front with short lead. Flight of the Stars is just in behind them, and a host of pursuers are coming on. The Horse is in with the chance on the outside. Second Empire. Oxley Hill is now coming hard. Labib is finding his best start late. Toyota's on the outside. Nothing up for Favorite Trick. It is the Horse and Oxley Hill. Oxley Hill and the Horse. Oxley Hill forged a short lead. The Horse, whose game as they come, coming down to the line. Spine Turtle stretch line. The Horse comes back. Unbelievable. Sensational. In victory here today was very, very close with Oxley Hill. Oh my. This is the greatest comeback since Lazarus. He had one race in 2 years.
And you can still hear Tom Durkin a little bit right there saying DeHaas only had one race in between the 1996 Breeders' Cup Mile that he won at Woodbine to the 98 Breeders' Cup Mile that he won at Churchill Downs, saying that it was the greatest comeback since Lazarus. And as good as that race call was for Tom Durkin in 98, I love 1996 as well. He said down the stretch, it's the American DeHaas who won that year for Michael Dickinson at Woodbine. It is going to be Zenyatta in 2009, Trevor Dedman taking on Tom Durkin in 1998 with DeHaas. Get involved on social media. Go to our Twitter handle. It's going to be @TVG, and make sure you use the hashtag TVG bracket. Todd, I feel sorry for anybody that is going to be going up against Trevor's call in 2009.
No, I agree with you. That is quite a matchup early on, and they made hats out of it. Unbelievable, Zenyatta.
Yeah.
And we also want to send out our get well wishes to Trevor Dedman. As you heard on yesterday's show, he suffered a fall at his home up in Minnesota, which is going to preclude him from calling the races during the Bing Crosby season, which officially starts this Wednesday of Breeders' Cup week here at Del Mar. Trevor, we're thinking about you. We can't wait until you are back. But Larry Colmus is going to be filling in during the Bing Crosby season, and obviously the voice of the Breeders' Cup once again this year. When we come back, we'll look at one of the most special moments in the history of the Breeders' Cup. 'Tis now 20 years on from winning it for America and being the only horse to win the Breeders' Cup Classic back-to-back.
With the TVG app, get expert analysis and free handicapping advice from here. Place a bet in just a few simple taps from here. And even stream races live from here. Access, analysis, and action from anywhere. Download today and get a $300 risk-free bet on the Breeders' Cup. TVG. Onto the app. Off to the races.
The November sale is a destination event for buyers and sellers around the world.
The ambiance during the September sale was incredible.
As we move into Keeneland November, I think people will find a new experience, a new atmosphere, new optimism. Anybody who participates, buying and selling, when they participate in Keeneland, they're reinvesting in the industry. That is the mission. It allows us to build for the future, and the future is bright.
The future is bright at Keeneland November.
'Tis now out at WinStar, and a treat to see And he has passed on his immense ability that he had on the racetrack. Turned out to have a very successful stallion career. It was a privilege for me back in 2001 as we were preparing for the Breeders' Cup in New York to cover Tiz Now. I was the reporter out at Santa Anita watching his preparations in the mornings, and then he made news. He came out to the racetrack for his final major workout, and he sat there, and he sat there, and he sat there. For nearly 40 minutes, he sat before he broke off in his workout. He was as intelligent of a racehorse at that level as you will ever see. He did it his way, and his way led to back-to-back Breeders' Cup Classic wins in the signature moment. Shortly after the September 11th tax in New York, the Breeders' Cup held under emotional and very, very difficult circumstances. He gave us all something to cheer for. Here's a look back at Tiz Now, 20 years on from that moment.
The American Horse of the Year and the ARC winner are heads apart with a furlong to go in the Classic. On the outside, Saki. Tiz Now fights on. Here's the wire, desperately close.
The horse had run in the Woodward 3 days before 9/11 on the 8th. And I was at Santa Anita on the morning of the 11th, and I was walking down to the racetrack, and a friend of mine stopped me and said, "Jay, come in here and look at the television."
It almost goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway. This is not going to be a normal broadcast day at TVG.
The horse was still in New York. Both his groom and his exercise boy stayed with him. He wound up staying for about 11 or 12 days and finally got a flight out of New Jersey.
About 7 days before the Breeders' Cup, I was scheduled to work Tiz Now at Santa Anita. Jay wanted an extra special work, but he had other ideas. He didn't want to go.
He got on the track, and all of a sudden he started propping.
He was very strong-minded, very strong-willed horse. And if he didn't want to do something, you weren't going to force him to do it.
I said, "This doesn't look good. I think we're going to maybe have to cancel everything." He's supposed to fly out 2 days later.
It took me about 40 minutes to actually convince him that it was time to do some work. But when he did go, he went beautifully. He's quirky, but he's fast.
The first day there on the racetrack, he wasn't good again. But then, lo and behold, the following days, he just turned it around. He was like he'd been as a 3-year-old.
We just had to make sure that the Tiz Now was going to show up on Breeders' Cup Day.
God bless America.
The image that I will never forget is the jockeys were all asked to walk out onto the turf course, and we turned around and looked at the grandstand. Up on the roof, the military presence was, I was awestruck.
Sweet home.
Tiz Now was racing for America.
And the horse is on the track for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Tiz Now, the reigning horse of the year, sidelined with a back injury, kept him in the barn for 6 months. Third in both races since his return.
He broke well, and he got a great position. It pretty well went according to plan until about the 3/16 pole.
Aptitude is taken wide by Gander, and the field turns for home.
I heard a horse ranging up on the outside of me. I gave one quick little glance, and I saw those blue Godolphin colors.
Here comes the ARC winner, Saki, and he storms to the lead.
Saki looked like he had his measure at that point.
I went ahead and I put the stick in my left hand, and I tapped him once. I didn't hit him hard. I just tapped him, and he responded favorably.
With a furlong to go in the Classic, on the outside, Saki. Tiz Now fights on. Here's the wire, desperately close. Tiz Now wins it for America.
It was simply a day I will never forget. It was so exciting, and Tom Durkin yells, and Tiz Now wins it for America. The place went ballistic.
immediately after, I was really happy for Tisdale. Because he'd had a tough year. He was the horse of a lifetime.
So many of us are looking for inspiration on a daily basis, and we found it in that racehorse, Tisdale, 20 years ago. In fact, one of our on-air colleagues at one time was all-pro linebacker Brian Cox. After he was done with his playing days, he joined us on TVG. But he loved to tell the story when he was with the New England Patriots, and they were huge underdogs to the St. Louis Rams in the Super Bowl that following year after Tisdale's win in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He asked Coach Belichick if he could address the team. What did he show them? He showed them Tisdale's win in the Breeders' Cup Classic. The New England Patriots went out and upset the St. Louis Rams that year. They were inspired. To this day, I'm inspired by what Tisdale did.
I don't know what it is with horse racing, but it always seems to capture these moments. You know, if this was a Hollywood script, they would throw it out the door, right? It's too schmaltzy. I mean, it could all happen. But horse racing does this live and in real time. It provides these moments, and that was one of them.
And it couldn't have happened without the advent of the Breeders' Cup. We are privileged to be here for breakfast at the Breeders' Cup, and we're very much looking forward to the 38th renewal of the Breeders' Cup World Championships here at Del Mar, coming up this Friday, November 5th, with Future Stars Friday, and then Saturday on November 6th. 9 championship races highlighted by the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Who will add their name to the list of great horses like Tisdale who have won the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic? We have some additional viewers who are going to rejoin us now, and we'll get back into the action here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
Gunrunner reaching for the wire, collected alongside, and then comes West Coast and War Story, but Gunrunner's on top of the world! He wins the Breeders' Cup Classic!
In 2017, Gunrunner punctuated his Horse of the Year campaign with a dominant victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. This year, the World Championships return to the Seaside Oval, and the biggest names in the sport have assembled at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Who will rise to the occasion and emerge as this year's definitive star? TVG brings you all the action as the competitors and their connections make their final preparations for the biggest weekend of the year. Welcome to Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup.
The last day in October has brought about some of the most important workouts leading to the Breeders' Cup this Friday, November 5th, and Saturday, November 6th at the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Welcome to Del Mar. You're watching Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup on TVG. I'm Todd Schrupp alongside Simon Bray. For those of you just joining us, it has been a very busy morning with some of the most significant horses in these significant races that will happen at the Breeders' Cup. Starting with Essential Quality out at Churchill Downs, where they've been dealing with some rain all week. He worked very early on for trainer Brad Cox. Essential Quality has been the leader of the 3-year-old division all year. Now he's trying to beat older horses in the biggest race of all, the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. How did he look this morning to you?
To me, he looked tremendous. I mean, outstanding. A++ for me. And why? Because he's a very good horse in the afternoon, but he's not a very flashy workhorse. He goes about his business. He's not a horse that you're going to look at and pick off the screen and say, man, he looked really good work. He just goes about his business. And I think some of the times that's why they're good horses. They don't put it all out in the morning. They leave plenty in the tank. There's longevity there. There's not so much wear and tear. But today, he really looked sharp. I think the time off that he's had in the fall, he's had a little bit of an extended break in between starts here, has really helped him develop. Sometimes, these 3-year-olds, they get on the Triple Crown treadmill, right? They're going. Once you back off from the stop, it gives them a chance to fill out and develop. He's done that.
Yeah, and he's easy to recognize on the track. He is the gray, working in company with an older horse down on the inside. So both these horses for trainer Brad Cox, but it is Essential Quality that he and everyone else is most focused on, what he's going to do in this 5 furlongs. And Simon, what we watched, while the workout ends right about the finish line, it actually just keeps going, and I'm impressed with what I saw after the finish line.
Yeah, so these horses don't work to the wire. They're meant to work past the wire, but you watch the video in the top right-hand corner as we go around the clubhouse turn there, you're going to see another horse from another stable just galloping, and Essential Quality puts away his workmate here, and he's going to see that horse in front and use it as a target. And that's what he does in his races. He likes to have a target and run them down. Right here, you're going to see he starts to accelerate. There's a horse in the top right-hand corner. Right there you can see, and he sees that and wants to go after him. So this is a very good workout, yes, but to me the things that have impressed me is physically how he looks, how he's developed. He is now making that transition from adolescent teenager into fully mature adult, and that's what you get this time of year with a 3-year-old turning into a 4-year-old. He is really, really sharp right now.
That time off that Simon was talking about has not raced since his win in the Grade 1 Travers back on August 28th, but he is ready to return to the races. The Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. He has a horse in his barn that he has to beat. Brad Cox also trains Knicks Go, a gray or roan horse. But this is much different than what we saw from Essential Quality because Knicks Go is not working with another horse from his barn. Knicks Go going solo here this morning at Churchill Downs.
You can't put this horse in company. You know what would happen? He'd just run off. Look at him. He's aggressive here, head tilted to the side. That's because the exercise rider's got a strong anchor on him. He's letting off, I always use the term, he's letting off the foot off the brake pedal rather than hitting the gas pedal because he'd be gone. He's very fast in the afternoon. He has one way of running. You can see the rider's not going to ask him here because he would just take off and do too much a week out. So very, very different type of horse. He's 5-year-old. Talk about adolescent to fully mature adult. He's a fully mature adult, but if you can just remember from a minute ago, we had Essential Quality. You put those two next to each other, the 3-year-old doesn't look out of place against the older horse.
Trainer Brad Cox has 2 serious horses for the biggest race of the 2 championship days, the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, Essential Quality, and Knicks Go. He's also got a very serious chance in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff, highlighted with Latruska, who's clearly the best horse in the division, but he is going to counter with a good horse of his own. She Dares the Devil, who actually has a win over Latruska earlier in the year.
Yeah, it was back at Oaklawn Park, right, in the Azeri. So, again, this filly working solo, and you can see why she's a little more aggressive. You throw another horse with her, it's not going to end up the way you want it. Very feminine. I mean, obviously she's a filly, but you can see the difference in build and physique compared to Essential Quality and Knicks Go. Feminine filly here, lightly made, and just very athletic looking skips over the ground.
She Dares the Devil completing her work at Churchill Downs earlier today, working a little bit later than those stablemates Essential Quality and Knicks Go. As we were talking about, you can see the track drying out there as the Commonwealth has been soaked from all sides there, both in Lexington, Kentucky at Keeneland Racecourse, where we've had some key workouts leading to the Breeders' Cup, and then here at Churchill Downs. Florent Giroux is a consistent rider for trainer Brad Cox. He also had an up-close view of what was going on with Essential Quality. He was aboard for that workout. Caton Bradar with him afterwards.
We're right in front of her plaque for winning the Kentucky Oaks. She Dares the Devil out for her final Breeders' Cup Distaff Breeze with Florent Giroux on board, who has been on board for most of her work and all her work in the afternoon. Flo, how did she go?
She did a great job, actually. She's a good workhorse, like I said previously, and not surprised, how good she worked again this morning, and excited how she's coming into the Breeders' Cup.
She tailed off a little bit last year after a really spectacular campaign, but started out beating Latruska this year, the only horse to be able to do so. What will it take for her to be able to duplicate that task in the Breeders' Cup Distaff?
Well, run probably the best race of her life, but it could be done, It's going to be tough, but I believe in her, and we raced over the track already over the summer, and it seems like she took it to it. It wasn't the same competition, but at least, she handled the shipping and the track, very well. So we have that, with us, and we'll see how it goes, especially try to map a game plan, when the post position are out tomorrow, and we see what's going on.
Switching gears a little earlier today, you were aboard Essential Quality for his final Breeders' Cup tune-up for the Classic. How did he go?
He went great, actually. I wish I was riding him. But no, he's not really like the most, impressive horse, we'll see walking in the morning, but look like he's doing better, than he's been previously. And actually, he was pretty on it this morning. He passed the company pretty easily and went on to catch those horses in front of me. So he's doing great, and look like Brad is is in good hand, especially with Nick's going to racing.
I was going to say he might not be that impressive, but I thought that was a pretty impressive workout this morning.
Yeah, definitely. If you follow the horse, a little bit, and you know how it could be in the morning, is not, like I said, the most impressive animal, but everyone knows how he walks and stuff like this, and that's the way it goes, But I felt like he's maturing, nicely. Seeing him, all year round, and I really think, mentally, he's getting stronger.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Laurent Giroux board She Dares the Devil in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and very busy in the mornings.
Kate, an excellent work out there. We look forward to you coming to California, and it is very busy in this run-up to the Breeders' Cup. There's also some unfortunate news. There is going to be one horse who will not be going in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, and Christina Blacker has that breaking news.
Yeah, Todd, that's right. Breaking news to report here from Del Mar, and this was first reported by Jay Privman of the Daily Racing Form. Idol, Richard Baltus's runner and your big cap winner, is out of the Breeders' Cup Classic. He worked this morning, went 5 furlongs. Richard saying that he thought the work was just fine, but the horse came out just a little stiff, a little tight behind, and he wasn't happy with what he was seeing. I was able to reach out to Richard myself as well, and he said, look, the horse is fine. It's nothing serious. We're not overly concerned. You have to be 110% to run against horses of this caliber and at this level. The horse comes first, and he's going to elect to sit this one out. It's disappointing, Todd. I know this is a horse that you followed for a long time. He's a true mile-and-a-quarter type. I'm sure they were looking forward, as everybody is, to competing in the Breeders' Cup. But unfortunately, Idol will not compete in the Classic this year. Joaquin?
And Christina, one of the younger siblings to Idol is a filly by the name of Nest for trainer Todd Pletcher, who broke her maiden in her career debut, and she drew off and she won by 5 lengths. She was pre-entered in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. There were 9 pre-entries for the Breeders' Cup Juveniles, but Nest will not be running in the Breeders' Cup this year. This news was first reported by Daily Racing Form's Dave Grenning yesterday, and instead of running in the Breeders' Cup, Nest is going to be rerouted and be running in the $150,000 Tempted Stakes, which is going to be a 1-turn mile on the exact same day as Future Stars Friday on November 5th, but is going to rather stay home in New York and run at Belmont Park. So Nest is going to be a defection from the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and now that is looking like it is going to be a field of 8. I know there was a little bit of confusion earlier today when we saw Stiletto Boy for Ed Mosier on the racetrack. He was actually pre-entered in 2 races in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and the Breeders' Cup Classic. He wore a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile saddle towel today, but I checked in with jockey agent Tony Matos, who represents Ket DeSomo, who will have the mount, and Tony Matos confirmed to me that Stiletto Boy is going to be running in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but just threw a little bit of confusion there wearing his Breeders' Cup dirt saddle towel when he was on the track earlier today. We are also getting set for the first turf works that we've had here at Del Mar. The track opened on October 25th, but turf works are going to be happening today for the first time. And just over my right shoulder, Brendan Walsh has come in from Kentucky. He was at Santa Anita just yesterday, and Brendan Walsh is getting preparations done for Extravagant Kid, who's going to be working on the grass here at just about 9:30, guys.
And Simon, with those grass workouts here at Del Mar, we saw a rain-soaked turf course at Keeneland, and they had the dogs up. Different scenario here, but we have had just a lot of fog in the area, cooler temperatures. Will they have highway cones set up as dogs out here?
Yeah, they will behind us here. You probably can't see it in the shot, but they're going to be working right behind us here, and there's an orange cone out there. And the reason they do that, it's not because of the soft turf, it's to protect the grass for the racing next weekend. So they'll have the cones out. They actually were watering this area behind me over my left shoulder right here yesterday. That's the chute area, so that was undergoing some watering last year. Just underscores the drought-like conditions we've been here in Southern California, but the turf will be great. Just because that damp moisture just takes the sting out of the turf course. Everyone wants a firm turf course, but they don't want it rock hard like a road where horses hear their feet rattle. They just want a perfect, turf course where they can just get a little bit about toe in the grass to take the sting out of it.
And Del Mar is perfect and ready for hosting the Breeders' Cup for the second time in its storied history. 2 championship days of racing this Friday, November 5th, and Saturday, November 6th. Del Mar is ready. Are you ready? That includes, do you have your TVG account ready? If you have never been a TVG account holder, find out why TVG is the leader in advanced deposit wagering. The Breeders' Cup brings together the best in thoroughbred racing, and that's why they have aligned themselves with TVG as the official wagering partner of the Breeders' Cup. We're so sure you're going to love it. If you've never been a TVG account holder, you can right now scan that QR code or get the details at tvg.com/best bet of this offer, a risk-free bet up to $300 on your first single horse win wager. Find out more. Yeah, it's a busy Sunday for most, but not this pony horse in the Mandela barn. Yeah, how about a Sunday fun day in the sand? We'll be back with more Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup right after this.
There's something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day, and the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
At PNC Bank, we believe in the power of taking steps forward, moving ahead, whatever the pace and whatever the size. That's why we set out to help make it easier for everyone to move forward financially. With small business, personal banking, wealth, and corporate solutions that help you reach your goals and plan for the future.
It's a girl.
We're doing everything we can to help you get where you want to be. Because sometimes a little help is all you need. See how we can make a difference for you at PNC Bank.
Welcome back, everybody. Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup continues here from the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. That is a live look at Latruska, who's going to be one of the main headliners over the 2 days here at the Breeders' Cup on November 5th and 6th, and she will be competing in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She's a 17-time winner who has banked over $2.2 million and is now a multiple Grade 1 winner. But before she came here, she was undefeated and a perfect 6 for 6 in Mexico. Here's more on the story on Latruska.
When Latruska come here, I know she's a very important horse. She come after win 2 parts of the Mexican Triple Crown for fillies.
Latruska se lleva el Clásico Diamante.
After she run here, I know I have a good horse. After the Clásicos del Caribe, St. George's Stable tell me if I want to move to the United States. And I don't think a lot, because I think to in Mexico, after 10 years in a row, be leader trainer, I need to try here. She's a very special horse. She's not easy horse in the strong. She like to to show to you she's the one. Sometimes before important races, even I don't work her in 2, 3, 4 weeks. Some days she gallop very, very nice, and other ones she want to run. So when she want to gallop, okay, gallop, what else we can do? Just I need to change the day after.
And they're off. As expected, Letruska right to the front of the opening strides.
I don't think she have a problem if she goes second position. I don't think if she's not in the lead, she don't win.
Letruska and Iran Ortiz Jr. to win the Juddmonte Spinster.
Letruska right now, and maybe in the history for St. George Stable, be the most important horse. And the owner, Germán Larrea, he breed almost the half of the Mexican breds. He support all the Mexican industry for horses in the last 20 years. I think this is important for all the Mexican industry horses. We have a lot of passion for the sport. We have people for all our countries, from Puerto Rico, Panama, República Dominicana, Venezuela, in very important positions like riders, assistants for trainers, some trainers, grooms. So now when we have a horse for Mexican interest in Mexican people, it's a real dream.
Earlier this morning, I had a chance to check in with Letruska's trainer, Fausto Gutierrez, and yesterday she went for a workout on the racetrack. They credited her with a 5-furlong work in 101-1. We know the story now. Things did not go according to plan with her getting hooked up with an unexpected workmate down the backstretch, but Fausto told me earlier today that she cooled out just fine. She ate up all her food last night. She was perfectly fine this morning, ate up all her food earlier this morning for her breakfast, and she is cooled out, and she is perfectly normal, according to her trainer, Fausto Gutierrez. As far as her schedule, what is going to be happening tomorrow for Letruska, that's when she's going to hit the track for the first time since her workout. She is scheduled to jog and gallop to morning for Letruska here at Del Mar. So, Todd and Simon, it was something that did not go according to plan for the connections of Letruska yesterday with the workout, but good news today is she has come out of that work just fine back here at the barn.
Yeah, I mean, all the key indications the next day after work, especially with horses, you want to see, you heard Joaquin say she ate up all her food. That's a key indication. You got to monitor how horses eat. The first thing they'll do is they'll back out of the feed tub when things aren't right, when they don't feel right. It's good that she ate up everything.
Yeah, I talked with Joaquin after our show yesterday just about Letruska and her story, a little bit about this. And I learned something I did not know. We've been talking about the importance of exercise riders. We heard with Brad Cox talking about the full-time employees that he has that are exercise riders. In the case of Letruska, essentially Fausto Gutierrez, wherever she's gone, he hires someone there. She does not have a main exercise rider, and he estimated over the course of her campaign, looking back, she's had about 20 different exercise riders aboard. So the exercise rider in this particular workout was getting aboard her for the first time.
I've never heard of that before.
For a horse at this level, that is something, yeah.
Look, I've touched on it all week long about logistically how the big barns have a little bit of an advantage from the employee standpoint. They can maneuver, they can adapt, and they can move horses and people around. When you have a smaller barn, it's hard to have an exercise rider that can travel solely with one horse and be committed to that when they're away from the main stable. They usually ride the other horses. So, yeah, once in a while, you'll ship a horse out. You'll know a trainer shipping to a barn. Can you get so-and-so to get on a horse? Just gallop him if he's easy. But a horse at this level, to have that many different exercise riders, that's unbelievable. It just goes to show you, I mean, how good she is that she can adapt to that herself. The filly can take different commands from different riders. So, yeah, I mean, she's very, very good. Unfortunately, the workout, we've touched on it several times yesterday, but she came out of it in good shape. So that's good to hear. By the way, we got some other breaking news. Christina Blacker just sent me. It was on the subject. She was listening to the show. Always diligent reporter. She heard me talking about how horses are off their feet. According to a tweet from David Grenning, Reina de Melendo will not fly and ship to the Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf per Kenny McPeak. Why? Because she said the mare is off her feed. That was just moments ago. So just tying it into the well-being of horses and how, when they back out of the feed tub, that's an indication. Case in point here, Reina de Melendo will not be coming for the Filly and Mare Turf.
Stay with us here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. the latest news leading up to 2 championship days of racing, as well as watching these preparations. You never know what you're going to see. We saw that yesterday. We've seen a little bit of it today. We'll be back with more from Del Mar right after this.
Introducing the Equibase app with all new features, including Smart Pick, smart handicapping made easy. Choose your track, choose your race, and then go to Smart Pick. Select your level of risk, the size of your wager, and which of these 3 strategies you want to emphasize. Smart Pick will then tailor your very own selection and bet amount. It couldn't be easier. Smart Pick, one of the exciting new features in the Equibase app. Download it free of charge today.
Honor Code. A multiple Grade 1 winner from the final crop of the legendary AP Indy. Never off the board in 11 starts, he was crowned champion older horse before retiring. Now, he's living up to the promise of his pedigree, with progeny like Grade 1 winner Honor AP, Grade 3 winner Max Player, and multiple 6-figure yearling sales. Honor Code stands to continue his sire's legacy at Lane's End.
You know this type of place. You might even work in one. Hot, sweaty, uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. Big-ass fans keep you cool, comfortable, and productive in any type of space. So no matter where you are, think big. Get cool.
Maximum Security proves he's the real deal with a gate-to-wire win in the Florida Derby.
Champion 3-year-old.
Maximum Security has won the TVG.com Haskell Invitational. Maximum Security, he smoked them in the Cigar Mile.
Grade 1 winning 4-year-old.
Maximum Security takes them all the way in the TVG Pacific Classic.
Secure your mare's future. Maximum Security.
Breeders' Cup apparel and products represent everything the Breeders' Cup stands for. Handcrafted, expertly designed. Own a piece of the events that defines an industry. Available at breederscupshop.com.
We hope you've enjoyed our broadcast of the preparations leading up to the Breeders' Cup here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. But now we want to tell you about the most amazing way to watch the Breeders' Cup. It's through the Watch TVG app, and experience the Breeders' Cup like never before with our exclusive multicast coverage on the Watch TVG app. Watch TVG's multicast coverage features jockey cameras for every race, contender cameras following each horse from the paddock to the starting gate. We also have a multi-camera view featuring the player show and alternate angles and so much more. The best part about all of this, it's absolutely free when you log in with your TVG account or sign up for a 7-day trial. Just download on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV. You pick the platform, whatever connected device or smart TV, to unlock an exclusive Breeders' Cup experience on the Watch TVG app. Get ready right now with the Watch TVG app. We return to Santa Anita. Michelle Yu, where are you?
Todd, I am way above the racetrack right now on the 5th or 6th floor up here in the clockers room, led by Nancy Maldanowski. She's over there, and all of her clockers. You guys wonder how we know the workout times for all these horses that you see in your past performances. It is a very busy but finely tuned machine that happens up here. First thing here at Santa Anita, you have to turn in a work slip to request a work for your horse 2 days in advance. So that goes into the race office, and then they give the approval for the horse. Now, when you want your horse horse to work and you got to get a time for him, you can call into the clockers directly, or when you're walking onto the gap, you can stop. There's a little booth there, and then you can tell the little booth, okay, I'm going to have so-and-so horse be working this far. All the clockers get relayed that information. You can see a bevy of them up here. They've all got their computers, they've got their binoculars, and they've got their worksheets. Looking at the worksheets right here, when they've been given a horse to look at, they'll jot down the times of the horses that they are clocking. They also have the ability to look up horses based on the name. It'll come up with what their descriptions are, if they've got white blaze or a white strip, so they can match not only the name that the trainer has given them, but also visibly looking at the horse to make sure they are getting the proper horse. You can see right now some clocking going on, and they each choose a horse to track around. Right now it's not the busiest time, but right after the break, when there can be 40, 50, 60 horses working at a time, this place is an absolute chaotic scene in here with lots of shouting going on about who's getting what horses to make sure we get all of these proper times. And of course, we're very thankful all year round, but especially during Breeders' Cup, so we know exactly who we are looking at, Todd.
Michelle, thank you for that insight. I don't think the general audience, even people who have been around the racetrack for a long time, understand how that process works. But what's fascinating to me, having done these shows, Simon, with you, going all the way back to Fusaichi Pegasus before the Kentucky Derby, is how you can have people watch the same workout and come to different conclusions.
Yes. I mean, you get different opinions, right? And, you know, there are a lot of private clockers, but yeah, you could take video or take one horse working and you'll get different opinions. That's what makes this game so great. So, you know, there are private clocker reports you can purchase, and sometimes you get a horse that works and it's a C+ on one report and a B on another. So it's just, you know, it's how you view it through the lens of the person watching it.
As we've been seeing this morning, it's been a very busy day for the Steve Asmussen barn. With more on that, Joaquin Jaime.
Scott Blasi is overseeing the Steve Asmussen operation here at Del Mar leading into the Breeders' Cup, and it was a very busy morning for your team. Starting off with Jockey's Warrior. He'll be in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. What did he do today?
He just went an easy 3 ace. He went 36-4. Thought he really got over the racetrack well, and, you know, looked impressive through the wire. Weren't expecting much out of any of them. Just let him get over the track a little bit and get acquainted with Del Mar.
With the recent great sprinters that you guys have had come in and out of your barn, Matoli recently certainly comes to mind. Have you sort of taken that template and applied it to Jockey's Warrior?
I mean, he's pretty straightforward. He's just an elite talent, and you know, moving forward, we're not going to have much to do with him this week, and we kind of got the plan mapped out, and we know what we're going to do.
Juvenile fillies, Echo Zulu. She'll be going 2 turns for the first time. What did she do this morning?
Echo went 50-2, just nice and relaxed, galloped around there. You know, she's a lot more impressive on game day than she is in the morning, but we're happy with her work, and she's doing really well here.
Anytime a horse is going 2 turns for the first time, like she's going to be doing in the juvenile fillies, it always comes up with the question, any concern for your team of her going 8.5 furlongs?
I mean, not watching her prepare at Santa Anita, I thought she's really improved since Saratoga as far as galloping out and stuff. You know, she seems to be putting distance on her rivals in the other races. So we'll see. You never know till you do it, but we're excited about her.
The last 2 for you in the last set were Clairiere and Silver State. What did their morning look like?
Silver State went 48-3. He's another one. He's just done really well since he's gotten out here. And Clairiere went 49-1, and same thing. She's just really training well.
Over the past couple of years, you and Steve have come to California and got here early and acclimated early. Is that something more recently that he's decided to do, to get his horses to California and get them acclimated early?
You know, I think it was more or less, you know, shipping some pretty nice horses out here on top of races and maybe not having the success that we had expected. You know, Steve's always been kind of an early shipper. We started it with Curlin, going over to Dubai. You know, we've won 4 Breeders' Cup races out here, so it has worked for us in the past. And, you know, it just, with Tex Sutton being down and, you know, not being as easy to get here it has been in the past, I think it's been to our advantage to get out here.
What are the boss's plans? When does he get into town?
I think Steve gets here Tuesday.
Scott, always appreciate the time. Good luck in the Breeders' Cup this year.
Thanks, guys.
Matoli's one of the best Breeders' Cup Sprint winners I've ever seen previously. You think Jackie's Warrior is in that mold? He's that good?
I think he has the ability to be that good. I mean, his efforts around one turn are very, very good. He certainly looks that way. And, yeah, I mean, look, if he takes the Breeders' Cup Sprint on Saturday, I think you could put him in that sort of context as Matoli, no question.
California, known for grass racing. And when we come back, we will go to the turf here at Del Mar, our first series of turf works leading up to the Breeders' Cup from the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, when breakfast at the Breeders' Cup continues.
Eclipse champion Blame has sired 5 Grade 1 winners, including Nadal, Marley's Freedom, Fault, Abscon, and French Classic winner Senga. Recent top runners include Aga Khan stud Saidabad, a star performer overseas, plus these recent standout performers. With success on the track and success in the ring, this proven son of Arch is truly a gold value stallion. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
There's something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day. And the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft for the right flight with the right crew up front. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be the here and now.
It starts with a dream, and if you have faith, there is reason to believe. And when you believe, add patience and time, and the horse of a lifetime could be waiting inside. Alone and in partnership, we breed, raise, race, purchase, sell, and stand world-class racehorses. Come dream with us. 3 Chimneys, where dreams are born.
Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup takes you right to the Jimmy Durante Turf Course here at Del Mar. The Breeders' Cup looming this Friday, November 5th and Saturday, November 6th. And this is our first look at Breeders' Cup workers over the turf here at Del Mar.
That looks, from my vantage point, to be Ken in the saddle. I think Kent Azorma, who's been riding her, she just went by behind us.
Cairo Memories.
Yeah, we're stationed here in the infield, and way out on the outside, you can see because of the dogs there, they're keeping the turf course well preserved. And you know, she's a very, very good filly. She broke her maiden here at Del Mar over this very turf course by 4 lengths. She's looking around a bit. I think she's just not accustomed to being so far out in the turf course on her own there. I mean, she's used to these surroundings, but I've been very, very impressed with her 2 performances. She's going to have to step up big time in this race, but she's got the ability to do it. Perfect lead change there. And I think that's Kent just dropping down in the saddle, and she moves over this ground exceptionally well.
And owned by Schroeder Farms, along in a partnership, but Kathy Schroeder of Schroeder Farms, the Baroness, after her last race, taking the Surfer Girl, got very emotional because they've been in the game a long time, and this may be their horse of a lifetime. Cairo Memories, pointing towards the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. There is trainer Bob Hess Jr. looking on from the grandstand here at Del Mar. And
thumbs up.
Yeah, that is a good indication from Bob Hess Jr. Earlier today, trainer Peter Miller was talking to Christina Blacker about this horse, Mo Forza, who is getting ready for the mile on the turf. And that will be part of Saturday's program, the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the PDJF. And Mo Forza has been awesome all year here in California.
Oh, you got that right. I mean, 2 for 2 this year, but you could take the win streak all the way back to the Del Mar Mile last year. Loves this trip. And the California horses in this division There's a coin toss between them. Mo Forza, Smooth Like Straight, Hit the Road. They're always thereabouts. They finish in a heat together. Usually they're right there. But he's got the right running style. The question you have to ask yourself is, how is the California group, the three that I just mentioned, going to stack up against some of these Euros?
And Mo Forza coming down the lane here and striding out as he prepares for the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the PDJF. He has been the leader of the division out here, but as Simon said, a half-length win last time out over Smooth Like Straight and Hit the Road, and then before that, a head win over Smooth Like Straight with Hit the Road running third again. So that group of horses, we know what they're capable of in their own division, but what happens here at the Breeders' Cup when some of the best in the world show up? The Europeans look to have the advantage once again in the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile presented by the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund. The sprint on the turf, 5 furlongs on the turf here at Del Mar. You got to be a little bit lucky to win as well.
You've got to have a lot going in your favor. You've got to have a good post position draw. You've got to have luck with the trip. And this is a good indication of it. Can you imagine? These are just two horses. They're going to be stacked 4 or 5 wide around that turn here. It's a short run into the first turn. Loss of ground here can cost you the race. And then if you come from behind, you're going to have to navigate through traffic. Extravagant Kid, I think has got the right running style. I mean, he's a horse that doesn't, need to be on the lead, but he can be there if the pace is slow, and he can sit just off it as well. The big thing is he's not coming from way off the pace, coming from way downtown.
Extravagant Kid at the age of 8. Lining up in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. He's been such a good horse for a very long time for trainer Brendan Walsh, and he's encountered all kinds of different trips sprinting on the turf. He's been at Maidan, he's been at Royal Ascot, he's been at Newmarket, and last time out he was second in the Grade 2 Woodford at Keeneland over a good turf course to Golden Pal, and Golden Pal will also be part of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The last time we were here at Del Mar, back in 2017, it was a 30-1 upset in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. That's just part of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The last time we were here at Del Mar, back in 2017, it was a 30-1 upset in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. That's just part of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The last time we were here at Del Mar, back in 2017, it was a 30-1 upset in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. That's just part on Saturday here at the Breeders' Cup. Going to be a big long shot in here, 5-year-old mare by the Factor, whom last time out in the Grade 2 Eddie D going 6.5 furlongs over at Santa Anita, the about distance, lost to Lieutenant Dan, who's in this race. Chaos Theory pointed towards it as well. And Charmaine's Mia wasn't necessarily a true sprinter. Some of her better races have been going long, so she's coming back to where she kind of started on the turf. She was a sprinter early on, then they sent her long. What is her best distance?
I don't know, and I don't think the connection's there. That's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a type of horse it's hard to bet with confidence, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right, a long shot. It's like they're reaching. It was 6.5 last time. As we know, 6.5, that was down the hill at Santa Anita. That doesn't equate to anything like 5 furlongs here at Del Mar. So, I mean, it's just like, at this point, throwing darts a little bit and seeing where they land. Look, she was a 2-time Grade 2 winner, going a mile on the grass earlier this year. But I think she's up against it here, especially coming back to 5 furlongs. So, if you know, back in May, mile length, 9 furlongs, now mile 16th, now 6.5, now 5 furlongs. She is just coming back further and further down the distance.
Yeah, and her form has kind of been lost since that break from May to August. So Charmaine's Mia going to be a huge long shot in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. The Juvenile Turf Sprint, one of the new additions as far as that Future Stars Friday. Big opportunity here for the 2-year-olds on the grass that at this point are best getting out there on the engine to go 5 furlongs. And taking a look right now at Time to Party. Time to Party comes into this race for owner Gary Barber, and trainer Peter Miller was second in the Speakeasy last time out up at Santa Anita. But Time to Party did break his maiden on the turf here at Del Mar the race prior.
Built for 5 furlongs. I mean, these offspring of Cantherish, they love the grass. I mean, even if they started on the dirt, usually when they get to the grass, they improve. And just simply put, just a horse that's very fast for their age. Didn't get the lead last time out. The fractions of the race up at Santa Anita were a little quicker than what they were here at Del Mar. Maybe a slightly faster turf course, but still ran it extremely well and was coming at the end, only beaten 3 parts of a length. So Peter Miller has had so much success. He won two races the last time the Breeders' Cup was held here, of course, and this is his MO: sprinters and then sprinters on the turf.
And owner Gary Barber, although he makes his home in California, he travels the world. He races truly around the world. Can't imagine thoroughbred racing without an owner like Gary Barber. He was honored this year as one of the nation's outstanding owners, and that was by the Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Association at their special awards ceremony. Such a deserving honor. And how about what could be coming up in November for Gary Barber? He always points, obviously, as a year-round stable towards the Breeders' Cup. He loves to win on Racing's Championship Day. He has a chance, along with Team Valor in partnership, to win the Melbourne Cup and become the first American-based owners to win the Melbourne Cup since the great Farlap. Farlap had American owners, so Gary Barber trying to own a piece of history, and we wish him well.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, totally different to this race. 5 furlongs on the grass. They go 2 miles, the race that stops a nation. So, yeah, truly an international owner who's put so much into the game. You see all the horses they had on the track. There's a whole load back at the farm, yearlings and foals that are getting ready to come. Okay, here's Time to Party, breaking off, just going an easy, I'm not sure what they're going here, 3/8 maybe, half a mile. It's hard to see from the tight shot, but I mean, very, very, what we saw, we used to call it a daisy cutter action, a horse that's low to the ground, sprinter type. They're very efficient with their motion. The legs don't come up. They don't spend a lot of time in the air. They're low to the ground. Picking one hoof up and putting it down happens in a very quick, efficient manner, and that's the case with Time to Party.
Time to Party, a chestnut gelding by Cantheros out of the Smart Strike mare Party Smart, was bred by Gainesway Thoroughbreds and Bridlewood Farm in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Time to Party, part of Future Stars Friday. 5 Breeders' Cup Championship races this Friday at Del Mar. Will be going in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Well, as we mentioned, Christina Blacker is here at Del Mar, but there was one member of the Blacker family who was left behind at Santa Anita. Michelle Yu is with that person now.
Joined right now by trainer Dan Blacker, who sent out Hit the Road for his final work today. It was under the cover of darkness. I got to see about yay much of it. What were your thoughts?
It was perfect. Went really well. One, my assistant worked him as always, and he went really, really well. Finished up in 23 and change. Galloped out strong, good energy, everything we wanted, really. It was perfect work. So,
how does it compare to the works that we've seen him do before other big races? Have you seen any maturation from him?
It's a good question. Actually, I just said to Boomer here, I said that his work coming in, that work was better than his work going into the City of Light, the City of Hope mile. He's just got more energy right now. I think he's just coming in on this form cycle. He just feels like he's really ready to fire a big race next weekend. So I'm excited. He's just showing me the right energy, and all signs are pointing to a positive run next weekend. So
I feel like he just really needs a little bit of luck. He's had some very unlucky trips. How do you try to counteract something like that in the Breeders' Cup when you know there's going to be a big field?
Well, I think it all depends on the post position. I think it seems like there's going to be a lot of speed as well. We just hope we get a good post and he breaks well, and I imagine hopefully he's going to be sitting in somewhere in a stalking position. But it's really just, as you say, it's a lot of it is luck in the barrier, in the post position, and luck in the running of the race. But we just kind of keep our fingers crossed.
Final work today. What's his schedule like leading up to next Saturday?
So we'll look at him here at Santa Anita tomorrow, and then if everything looks good, we'll ship down to Del Mar tomorrow. He'll go to the track on Tuesday at Del Mar, and we'll gallop him, stand him in the gate, school him a bit, usual sort of things leading up to a big race. But
I'm actually glad that you mentioned standing in the gate, because sometimes with a lot of older, horses that have been around a long time, some people opt not to do some schooling like that. Why do you continue to school?
It's just my routine. All my horses stand in the gate once a week, and touch wood. I mean, we just, in general, don't often have issues with the gate. That's my routine, and I've had really good luck doing it that way. And I always stand and back out, and I feel like horses go up to the gate, they have a really good experience when you do that. They go stand in the gate, they're calm, and then they back out. They don't have, it's an experience that's calm for them, and they get comfortable with going in and out of the gate. And so my philosophy is when the gate opens, they're focused and they're ready to go to work. So that's the routine.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate you taking the time. You want to say hi to Christina?
No, she's seen enough of me.
Oh, wait, what are you going to be for Halloween? I know you have to dress up with the girls, right?
That's a secret. I can't tell the girls. They might be watching, Oh,
all right. I'm gonna Harry Potter. Oh, he might be Harry Potter. I love it. Aloha Mara, guys.
I'm definitely Gryffindor when it comes to that, as far as where I'm going to be with the Harry Potter. What are you dressing up as?
Simon Bray.
You're wearing a very good costume.
Yeah,
very,
like this.
Very lifelike.
Yeah.
It is time for our Classic Report. The Longines Breeders' Cup Classic is the highlight to 2 championship days of racing. It's the final Breeders' Cup race on Saturday. Christina, as if you already didn't break some news with Idol, what else do you have in the Classic Report?
Yeah, just a few updates on some other horses that I have been keeping an eye on. So, yes, we told you earlier, will not be entered in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I did get a chance to speak to Richard Baltus just a little while ago again, and he said, look, I'm going to have a great year with this horse next year. He's staying very positive about it. The horse is just a little tight behind. He's not overly concerned, but again, he wants to be 110% to run against these horses. Medina Spirit went out for a jog today. He worked on Friday. He walked yesterday. He jogged today. That's very typical of any kind of training regime that you will see. And then Tripoli put in that work yesterday, so just a nice light walk day for him today as far as the classic horses that I have been keeping an eye on. How about you, Joaquin?
Yeah, Christina, the 3 horses that are stabled here at Del Mar, starting with Hot Rod Charlie, the 3-year-old, worked 5 furlongs yesterday with Flavian Pratt aboard. He was actually scheduled to work 5 furlongs, but was credited with a 7-furlong workout in 126 and 4. So that's back-to-back 7-furlong drills in 126 for Hot Rod Charlie. He walked today, and Doug O'Neill told me that Hot Rod Charlie looked great this morning as he was walking around the barn. Art Collector, he had his final work here at Del Mar. Art Collector worked 4 furlongs and 48-2 for Hall of Famer Bill Mott as he seeks his 3rd Breeders' Cup Classic victory. And then the only other one that is stabled here at Del Mar going into the Breeders' Cup Classic, at least for now, is coming from the Steve Asmussen barn. That is Max Player. He's been jogging over the past few days here at Del Mar. Max Player is scheduled to have his final workout for the Breeders' Cup Classic tomorrow on Monday. Michelle, what's your latest update?
Thanks, Keno. Stiletto Boy put in a gallop this morning down south. Didn't get to see him myself, but I know we got to lay eyes on him on the show. And, of course, Express Train put in his final work today for John Sheriff, who's actually sitting right up there behind me, overlooking right now. Very happy connections there from both John and Victor for his final 5 furlong move going up to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Kaiten?
Well, after some juggling and stops and starts, the big 2 from the Brad Cox barn finally got their final workouts for the Classic in at 7:30 Eastern time in the time slot reserved for workers after the renovation break. The track was still on the sloppy side. Essential Quality went first. 5 furlongs from the half-mile pole, as is usually his custom, in company. He breezed in just under a minute, exactly what Brad Cox was looking for. And just afterwards, his stablemate Nick's Go went to the track, same distance. He went just a little bit slower, galloping out the 5 furlongs in 1:01 and change. Now, Brad Cox said, again, that was what he was looking for, and now all systems go as they travel tomorrow via a FedEx charter flight that's set to leave Indianapolis sometime tomorrow afternoon. The horses will leave Churchill Downs in Louisville around noon Eastern time. They have to be at the airport 2 hours in advance. No crew is allowed to travel with the horses, so most of the crew have already left and are already in California, eagerly awaiting their horses' arrival. The horses are expected to reach San Diego and Del Mar sometime Monday night, and Brad says that they do plan on doing some type of training Tuesday morning and then routine training the rest of the way until their engagements in the Breeders' Cup. Joaquin?
Oh, I'll take it because we only have a little bit of time remaining here. So, star of the show today.
Oh, Essential Quality for me, hands down. I mean, I don't want to be Captain Obvious, but looked phenomenal.
Yeah, even to my untrained eye, you couldn't help but notice Essential Quality today. Simon saying an A-plus workout. He is ready for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. Are you ready for 2 days of championship racing? Stay tuned to us here on Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup for moments like this, watching Essential Quality work out at Churchill Downs, well past the wire and well ready for his championship moment in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, it's not only the work that I'm grading him here, it's how he looks physically, his appearance as well. So, I mean, you put all that together, and typically not known as a sharp workhorse. I mean, we've known that all year. We've seen him. You know, he's been playing at the high levels big time, so he gets a lot of exposure. Even Brad Cox mentioned it, that he was typically a little more into the work than he does. Now, some of the moisture in the track might help him with his pedigree and that. He has an affinity for it, but this is a horse that when you look at him work in times past, you would think, well, he's not, you know, it doesn't equate to what you see in the afternoon, but it's all coming together now. He has really developed into a late developing 3-year-old.
Watch him take off like a jet, going past the finish line, looking for more to do. So can he pass everyone at the 1.25 mile distance here at Del Mar in the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic? So that concludes this Halloween edition of Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup. We ask you to have a safe, happy, and fun Halloween, with a reminder that we will be back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. On behalf of our entire crew, Scott Hazelton, Joaquin Jaime, Christina Blacker, Michelle Yu, Kaiten Bradar, Simon Bray, I'm Todd Trupp. Until next time, may all your photo finishes be winning ones. Thank you for watching Breakfast at the Breeders' Cup on TVG.